going to go into the action here with the Dallas Fuel, or sorry, not the Dallas Fuel, I should say the Washington Justice facing off against the Los Angeles Gladiators. This is hopefully going to be a very, very good match between two teams that are kind of like just edging out one another ever so slightly over the course of this tournament cycle. For me personally, watching both of these teams, I'm going to be giving the advantage to the Gladiators here. I think that they have a really solid understanding in this tournament cycle of the meta and how to play a variety of different comps.
They've definitely showcased a much faster tempo compared to the Washington Justice, which I think you could see in an electric manner when they first came out to play the Summer Showdown. But even their most recent games, they've been able to play like the Ryan compositions at a fast tempo. They're not just relying on what they were doing in week 1 with like the Sombra and the Doomfist or the Genji kind of stuff. But they're mixing it up. They're playing a bunch of different things, more Winston comps for the Gladiators, whereas the Justice have showed us a slower tempo with a bit of double shield too. So this is a stylistic clash. It's not just two teams who are trying to punch up towards the top of the standings, but it's a real battle of the metagame too.
Let's take a look at the starters now for the Washington Justice as well, who they're going to be running in this team. Saw some crazy stuff coming out from the Washington Justice, making all sorts of subs, but this is going to be a very standard roster that they're going to be fielding here today in this first match. Of course, the K and Assassin on the DPS duo, fantastic players in their own right, as well as this tank line, which is so sublime.
And just to talk a little bit about the craziness that we saw yesterday, in the winner's interview after the game, they said that they are trying to get Tuba to become their Brigitte specialist as well. And even then, we saw Tuba playing the Lucio yesterday too. I don't know whether they feel comfortable enough in Tuba to field him today against the Gladiators. That feels a little like hubris to me. I don't think that role was particularly well defined just yet. I'd rather see Bebe and Closer stay in full time. But anytime you think about the Justice, it's really about their tank line and their DPS line winning the game. The back line just has to kind of do their job and stay alive.
Absolutely, yeah. And is that Bebe with the yawn of a lifetime? It is. He's already bored of the opposition. Let's take a look at the Gladiators and see what they're going to be responding with as their roster. And the Gladiators is a team, like I said previously in my kind of like little rambling moment, this is a team that I've been very impressed with in this tournament cycle. I think that this is a hungry squad who are just, honestly, just hungering for the opportunity to prove themselves in these kind of tournament structures. And yeah, the tank line phenomenal, the support line phenomenal, the DPS as well have been showcasing as well that they can really hang with the very top. Mirror in particular as an individual who's been performing much better as of recently.
He certainly has. At the beginning of the year, the Gladiators were really struggling with integrating Mirror. They tried him on playing the Zarya role, they tried him all over the place. Even last year, they'd been trying him playing Brig in some circumstances too. Mirror's recent role in the Summer Showdown has been to come in, and majority of the time, he's going to be playing a Doomfist. As we head on to Nepal, I imagine that's what we're going to see him playing quite a bit already. And that has been a very interesting kind of dynamic, because even though he ends up dying first quite a lot of the time, his statistics don't look amazing on that kind of aspect. He dies the third most in the entire league first in team fights, but they get big value out of it. He gets big picks, they create space, and they play at a high tempo off the back of his Doomfist, and it has looked good for them. Like I said, the Gladiators in most of these scenarios are going to be the aggressors. They're going to be the initiators, and it's on the Justice to make the right reaction.
Really is. And we're going to find out how they're going to do it on the poll. I really do think that this kind of underarching narrative that we're kind of laying here about the pace and I guess the tempo of which these teams play against one another, it is really going to be showcasing itself over the course of this series, because the Justice, they love to play slow compositions. When they play the rush comp like they're teasing us with here, in my own opinion, they haven't been playing or making decisions fast enough to be able to operate this composition effectively. And the Gladiators are a team that have been able to kind of flex over to a variety of roles. If they've shored up those kind of weaknesses in this match here, I'm all for it. I want to see the Justice succeed. This is a roster that was promised great potential at the beginning of the year. And so far, 7-4, you can argue that that's a great start, but they want to take it even further here today.
They certainly do. And remember what's on the line, not just for these two teams, but any Shock fans watching as well. You're praying and hoping there for the Gladiators to be able to come out with the victory cleanly in this first engagement as well, just sizing each other up. The Justice have much more space.
And you can see Moth going for the environmental kill. He's found it. Straight away, the boot goes off the map. That's the K. All your damage removed. and you're immediately seeing it almost coming to reality here. The Gladiators jumping on their marks, finding the kills they were needing, and building up a tremendous amount of ult charge as well for this next team fight.
Yeah, that's brutal. We've seen actually in recent games a lot of Decay dying first. He's making the move over to Reaper as well, gives him a lot more survivability. I mean, honestly, even against being boofed, because you can use your teleport to get back up onto the high ground again.
If you're quick.
But it just gives you a lot more survivability in these fights and a bit of tempo to be able to go toe-to-toe against the Gladiators who are running the Doom. You're not so much of a target there.
And Matrix ready and waiting. They might not even need it. There we go. Going to be layering it down. It forces out the immortality. I do not know where Mag's going. A bit of a sightseeing tour there of the ball, but you see the shadow comes through, but not enough to try and convert anything. That's Muse still holding on to his ult here. Another one team fight for them. Staying alive, building up the ultimate, starting to get that rotation going.
Moth did die at the end there, though. Mag trying to pin multiple times in that team fight does eventually, towards the end, take down the Lucio for the Gladiators, who has managed to find a boot kill in each of these team fights so far, this time onto Assassin. That might pull the Gladiators back slightly from this opening choke point and allow a little bit of space for the Justice to get in. But again, the Gladiators have just been so fast in all of these fights so far, and Fury now a little isolated.
Yet the engagement. Muse off around the corner here. Needs the support of his team. Lays down the Earth Shatter. Will not find too many targets. In fact, battered down. The Am Matrix coming up big there as Bebe uses it to get a bit of supplementary damage and take them out. It's an even fight with the Sim Wall really slowing things down now for the Gladiators. But it continues. Another boop. That's Mirror with the punch. Mag's off the map.
So many environmental kills so far, and that's enormous. Just both of the main tanks getting taken down at the beginning of these team fights has essentially evened things out, and the Gladiators remain in control. The Justice do have ultimates to be able to turn this around, but how do you pin them down? Especially when Assassin falls that early on. The Gladiators, they all get shattered, but there is still a chance for the Gladiators to turn this, and they will.
Yes, 2 kills off for Mag here, but 100%. No one on the card, no one on the objective, I should say. Not even a chance in hell. That's going to be 1 round on the board here for the Gladiators, and I think the kind of narratives that I was trying to chuck into the pot, you know, stewing up, it's coming together ever so slightly. You can see the difference in terms of the pace.
Yeah, let's talk about the pace a little bit. I'm going to be a bit of a Stats Lab Steven over the course of this match because I was so interested in this game and the stylistic
You were cooking someone up with the boys down at R&D, weren't you? I
really was. If you look at the amount of team fights that these teams take, Gladiators takes about 25% more team fights per 10 minutes than the Justice does. And remember that most of the time, the Justice aren't even taking them on their own terms. Whoever they play against all across the league, normally they're having to react at the pace of their opponents. So you can see that the Gladiators just up the tempo quite a lot here. Even being reflected in terms of the statistics, they are just taking more team fights than the Justice.
Even here, how have they rolled out slower running a mirror comp? How are they not past the choke point at an equal point that the Gladiators are?
It's the confidence on being able to just take that space that's available to you. Plus, potentially a bit more efficient with their speed boost and their teleport, but I think mostly it's just that the Gladiators want to take that team fight hyper-aggressively because they're playing the Doom, and they're looking for those opening initiations.
Okay, they were waiting, I think, for the teleporter to come off cooldown to engage across from the side, but this is it. The seismic slam from Mirror catches onto a multitude of targets, but it's Decay who comes up with the goods. Muse falling. That's going to be the punch actually blocked off, potentially going for a diag off the pillar actually to send him flying into the sky, but it doesn't matter. Mirror's going to fall. It's a great pickoffs here for the Justice, eventually biding their time. It works off in their favor.
And that's the key to beating the Gladiators, in my opinion, is taking down Muse at the beginning. You need to react to their fight, so Gladiators are going to push into you. You need to react and really try and focus down the main tank. Muse has not been playing a perfect game over the course of this stage, but it's just working so well because he's coordinated with the rest of his team. But finding those opportunities to take him down is important.
This team fight is going already. Mag's been pushed off from this high ground, though. Can't follow up on his Earth Shatter. As big as it was, still, his team is there, ready and waiting. The pin as well, optimistic, but it's all good. Assassin's got it in the bag. Off the back of the Blizzard. Wonderful work from them, expending a lot of ultimates. In fact, all of them that they had. Building up this sound barrier for the next fight now, but the Gladiator's not going to be wasting any time to try and take the next team fight.
For them, it becomes an option of really, what are you going for here? Are you trying to path to the point as quickly as possible so that Mura has all of those walls to be able to work around? No, it's a bait and switch. They're taking high ground control with the teleporter this time.
Nice wall. It's going to be splitting them up. The sim wall, actually, though, comes out for the Gladiators. It's going to give them, again, a bit of a cover to take away a bit of the damage coming their direction. Mura has his meteor strike available. The pin across, that's going to connect, but this, okay, the sound barrier saving them. Nice immortality field as well, so everybody's healthy on the Justice. Fury obviously did go down in that fight, but still the Gladiators losing a lot of players, still taking this fight and prolonging and stretching it out. So the Justice are in a very, very solid position right now to try and take this round away. Potentially one team fight waiting for them, but the Gladiators with a lot of ultimates now to try and turn it.
Okay, this is the Gladiators' opportunity to get back in control, but so far, the reactions from the Justice have been really good. They've been scouting effectively, they've been repositioning effectively. These are all tools that you have at your disposal if you're the slower team to create an advantage. Now they're just giving the Gladiators the point.
Yep, the Shadow is ready and waiting. Muse is holding it though, but that's Mag. Lays it down and he stops his adversary from really advancing. But the point is going to flip over and Mag again going for the charge. He's been going for these so often. A lot of ultimates coming out there. As you can see, the Amp Matrix came through. It was enough for them to turn it.
Mag himself is pretty loose. He loves going for plays like that. And Mag and Muse are the number 1 and number 2 rookies that were coming out of Korean contenders this season, honestly. I mean, overall, just Korean main tanks, I suppose, is the more accurate way of putting that. But, you know, while other people like Django have actually turned out to be excellent, Mag and Muse, who everybody was looking at being the top performers for rookie main tanks, alongside Gaga, I suppose, from the Chinese region.
It's a lovely little self-destruct, actually goes right on top of the wall. Not sure if that was a set play or not, but works out anyway. As you can see, Muse lays down the Earth Shadow, does connect onto Mag. They have to invest the immortality field to keep him alive. That's going to be finished though, and now they don't have it to keep Decay alive, as the Seismic Slam does the job, pushing and walking all the way backwards. Assassin, he was kind of judging up and eyeing up whether or not to use that Blizzard to turn the fight, but at the end of the day, the Gladiators are going to make the decision for them. A nice stagger onto Fury as well. That's going to set them up into a great position to succeed.
Oh, devastating. They're just going to leave him alive for so long. The time is ticking up right now, and this is probably going to be the last fight. You take a glance over at the ultimates. Closer is definitely closer to his ultimate, but I'm not really sure that Assassin's going to be able to find value from the Blizzard. Unless they can teleport to the point and get value out of it there, the Gladiators can always disengage with this Symmetra teleport.
And by a bit of time, maybe the Amp Matrix comes down. Gladiators have got a lot that they can work with. They're taking the fight aggressively. They want to try and take out Closer. It forces out the sound barrier. It does connect onto 6 here, and they're going to get the freeze onto Muse, so they take him out. A nice team fight, but potentially clutchable. The Gladiators need to try and make it work for them, but it's been flipped. Mira taken out. Only one player can really touch this one in its space, straight out of the mech. Going to be sent back to the respawn queue off the back of it as well. And this is going to be a round on the board here for the Washington Justice, showcasing that they are still going to be going toe-to-toe with the Gladiators.
Interesting play from the Justice in that final moment as well. Assassin, on his own, essentially, took the teleport to the high ground instead of the Justice all going up there at once. He had his ice block forced out really early on, but because the rest of the Gladiators were trying to punish him, he found opportunities to be able to use the Blizzard, and that was the big difference maker there in the fight. So I like that the Justice were able to respond back. You can see that when we're saying the Gladiators are the aggressive team, we don't mean the better team. Just because you're able to take team fights more often and set the tempo, you don't always convert them into team fight wins. It gives you more opportunities for sure, and there's a certain advantage to having things happen at your pace. But if you're really good as a reactive team, and the Washington Justice are 7-4 right now, so they've been pretty effective at it, then you can still find these windows to be able to punish the aggression of the Gladiators.
That's really what it comes down to as well, with the stylistic differences that we're highlighting. And we do have a quick pause. This was on the Justice's side as well. They're trying to work through some sort of issue that they may or may not be having. In fact, they definitely are. I don't know why I said may or may not. I mean, they were the ones who asked for the pause. They probably got a problem going on. Need to solve it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just like to talk without really thinking. It's,
yeah, that's part of my favorites as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit though about the main tank kind of situation here too. because like I said, I'm going to be a bit of a stats lab Steven for this game too. One of the things that really caught my eye with these two rookie main tanks, Mag and Muse, is that they are right next to each other in terms of first deaths. So Mag dies about 55% more than average first in teamfights compared to the average for everybody, but that extends also to main tank players too. And the Washington Justice have not won a single teamfight this stage where it happened. If Mag dies first, they do not win teamfights, but it's almost the exact same for Gladiators and Muse. Muse dies a little less often at the beginning of teamfights, but his team has also never converted on a teamfight win where Muse dies first. So for both of these teams, keeping that spearhead, that main tank kind of front of your entire composition alive is so important. And that applies both when you're trying to play reactively and when you're trying to be the aggressors. If Muse goes down, they miss all of that force in the front line, all of that attacking power from his Winston or from his Rhine. And for Mag as well, if you lose him when you're on the retreat, when you're trying to react, then obviously everything falls to pieces without the shield to be able to play behind or any opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah, and I do wonder. I think the teams are getting ready as well to get back into the action, so we'll be saying that. Not too sure what the issue was here, but this has definitely kind of exceeded my expectations. I'll be completely honest as well coming into this, because I really did think that Washington, when they were playing this composition in the past, haven't really been able to handle a lot of, I guess, aggressive teams that come towards them when they're running it in, especially in these mirror matches. But it's much closer, and this bodes well, honestly. It means the Justice have clearly been working on stuff in the downtime. They're taking this match obviously very seriously, trying to walk away with a win, because it does mean it's their knockouts on the line.
And remember, the Shock knockouts are on the line as well. The Gladiators must win this round for the Shock to survive just a little bit longer. And that's not a good start for them nor the Gladiators. Mirror hitting the floor early on. But the Gladiators still do have chances at turning this.
Yeah, but they're just going to get the freeze off onto so many members of the Gladiators. The tank line just cannot do anything about that. Just cleaving through all of them. And that's a lovely first team fight win there for the Justice.
Yeah, that sets them up beautifully. And that was the main reason that the Justice were able to walk away with Village, is because they got an early control of the objective, and then the Gladiators really struggled to be able to take it away from them. The Doomfist is so much better when you're in control of the map, and you can set up in those sneaky forward positions. Mirror trying to take all of this space, he's such a vulnerable target to poke coming out from Bebe or from Assassin.
War comes up straight onto the teleporter. That's Muse gone down. We'll see what the Gladiators opt to do. Probably just going to be disengaging from this, Josh, if they were listening to you in the pause. Yeah, from the stats, that's an unwinnable fight.
Yeah, it's not a winnable fight. They haven't been able to turn any of those scenarios, and especially that one. Muse drops before Shu's Immortality Field can pop whatsoever. And yeah, that's just a reset. 40% now for the Justice. Plus a bit of an ultimate advantage. You look at closer compared to Moth, it's nearly double on the beat.
And Matrix online for both of these teams. Just trying to clear up some of the positioning onto the point. That's going to be one used by the Justice. Comes off around the corner as well. Mag being bullied and pressured off around the corner. That's a lovely Blizzard though. Assassin has been holding on to that one for quite some time, but it just locks up the necessary players. And the Gladiators, again, going to be losing this team fight out. The Justice accruing more and more percentage. 66% and counting for them.
And look how beautifully there the Justice bait the Gladiators in. Mag takes the brunt of the damage, but he just backs off and backs off, eventually takes the Immortality Field, and at that point the Gladiators are overextended. They're taking a team fight where they're perfectly vulnerable to the Blizzard that's going to come out, and they have no bigger options.
Mag, I thought he was to go for the shatter there. Of course, the sim wall is in the way. Makes it difficult. You see the sound barrier comes out. Closer wants to keep his team alive. Space is going to fall. That was the self-destruct used as well. Mirror off the back of it. 93% and counting. This is a done deal.
It certainly looks like it. Moth is still going to invest the sound barrier into this one, but how do you turn the fight? With only 3 players left alive, there's no chance. The Justice have played a perfect game here, and they walk away quite firmly in control of Nepal. That first round ended up being a little difficult for them, but these last two, not a challenge.
And it's looking inevitable here. Moth just trying to keep the overtime going. Space unable to get in that mech. That is the Justice taking map number 1 in this series. Now, we expected it to be close. What that means is as well is that the Shock cannot qualify for the knockouts tomorrow. They needed the Gladiators to get the 3-0 sweep. That's not what really matters here between these two teams. I gotta, I think, apologize to all the Washington fans as well. For my expectations coming into this, definitely was not anticipating this kind of outcome against the Gladiators, but it is clear that they have put a ton of work into working out exactly what they were doing wrong in the past. And this is looking like an absolute banger of a match.
Yeah, this is looking like a great game as well. So far, the reactive team being able to beat the aggressors, but I don't know whether the trend is going to continue, Brad.
We'll find out on the other side of the break, Josh, if it does just that. One map leading for Justice. Gladiators with an opportunity to respond when we return from the break, so don't go anywhere. Even more action coming up on the other side of this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back from the break, everybody, and taking a look at that Indeed player resume. I'm going to be taking a look at Mag here, and this is a guy who had a lot of hype going in behind him when he was entering the Overwatch League. I mean, all eyes are on this guy to really perform as well in terms of the main tanks. Look at that preseason GM survey, most likely to win 2021 Rookie of the Year with 4 votes. I mean, he's certainly playing like it. Josh, you described this play as quite loose.
Yeah, I think he is. You know, on a team that plays quite a slow reactive style, he's a player with a lot of individual freedom. He can go for big plays if he wants to. It's just about baiting the other main tank into making mistakes before he goes and makes the big play. But in the head-to-head matchup, if you take a look at their Reinhardt so far this season, it's basically Mag being able to dominate it. I mean, these are two teams that are very even on the standings right now. In fact, the Washington Justice are a little bit behind at 7-4 compared to the Gladiators 8-3, but Mag is still performing better on an individual basis. And that's what you would have expected coming into this season. But Mag hasn't really been the Rookie of the Year candidate that we thought he might be. And part of that has been because the rest of the Washington Justice hasn't looked as functional as we expected them to be across every single stage. We thought they'd be up there competing to go to Hawaii all the time, having these big wins, and even though there have been moments, it hasn't been consistent over the course of the entire thing. Perhaps this is the turning point. What a story that would be.
Yeah, Tuba coming in for closer here with the subs as well, so that's going to again, it'd be a bit of a spanner in the works, I suppose, to the script writers of the Overwatch League. And this is a bit more expected. Kevster in for Birdering, and as well as Skewed actually coming in for Moth as well. It does orchestrate what both of these teams have in mind, because already the Justice have mentioned in prior player interviews that, you know, they're trying to transfer Tuba into the role of like this kind of Brigitte specialist, and we already know that Skewed plays that as well, as we're heading into Hanamura.
Yeah, honestly though, Brent, I would imagine there's a pretty big difference between the Skewed and Tuba break.
It is quite
Tuba,
weird,
I think,
isn't it?
Yeah, Tuba's only made the move over fairly recently. And on top of that, Tuba used to be a DPS player, whereas Skewed at least had the background of being a support player, understands the role very deeply. And Skewed has been one of our best Brigs that we have in the league. I mean, he is absolutely a top 3 Brigitte right now, alongside, I don't even know who you put up there with him, probably people like Lee Jigon and Nisha, to be honest, over from the APAC region. Maybe Alarm if he was still playing it as well, to be honest. But Skewed has absolutely been elite on that role, whereas Tuba feels like he's settling in, and he hasn't had very much playtime at all. Plus, what happens then if you have to get Tuba on Lucio, like we saw yesterday? I have a lot of reservations about this move, especially when you're 1-0 up in the series and you want to keep the momentum going. But all right, let's see what he has.
Attackers incoming.
Let's see what he has. Yeah, and it's already leading currently 1 map to the Justice. It should also be said as well, just to clear up any sort of confusion, that with that 1 map lead that the Justice are currently holding, but they've qualified for the knockouts. We've got our top 6. Both of these teams are qualified. At this point, we are playing for the seeding in this tournament cycle, and of course the overall match, which is going to be contributing at the end of the season to the playoffs.
Of course.
So it's still super important for both of these teams.
Yeah, and also, even seeding, Brent, is deadly important when it comes to trying to make it to Hawaii. You want to try and dodge some of these monster teams that are out there. The Washington Justice, unless, like I say, they impress us massively in this game, or the Gladiators as well, for that matter, can't just go up against anybody and expect to win.
Certainly can't. And we see mirror comps coming out from both of these teams. Well, not quite mirror comps, actually. DPS going to be some slight changes here. As Justice are going to be looking for a lot of those hacks. Assassin running the Sombra. Mirror is in onto the point. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure there. Nice little headshot onto Assassin, but not enough, as Kevster and Muse have already gone down. They'll be looking to just try and build up those ultimates for the time being, but the Justice just holding on.
Yeah, this is a weird composition for the Gladiators to select, in my opinion. If I'm out there and I see that my opponent's got a Zen Brig backline, I'm thinking maybe we run some Moira Lucio kind of dive, and we go really hard and aggressive. It also fits the Gladiators' style and tempo that they want to play at, but with Shu playing the Zen and Skewed on Brig, it is a lot slower. Now, of course, you do have Skewed in, so you do want to be leaning into Brigitte play, but the Gladiators got to find a way to turn the tempo up, and it is not working out right now.
I don't think Muse got booped there. His power driver was blocked by the upper balcony. And yeah, that power driver is really what you're relying on for your initiation to try and take down this backline. Shudo somehow gets the better of Bebe there, but eventually is going to get taken out. Still, it will mean that they just stagger up space here, maybe buying just a couple of crucial seconds for Shu to get back into the action. It's a slight opening for the Gladiators if they choose to take it.
But with Kevster down and Space just on the respawn as well, I don't think there really is that aggressive component that can make use of the space that Bebe's death might have created for them. Bebe's just about to get back in the team fight now, and that space that you had is gone. Plus, Assassin now has an EMP too, so this is getting tough with half the time bank already expended for the Gladiators.
No recall now for Kevster. That's going to be the EMP connecting. He's got nowhere to go. And despite Mag going down early enough for them, already with the backline gone now, Gladiators really can't sustain into this team fight. Just trying to chase down the last few targets. Can't quite get onto Mira.
Is just staggering himself there as well. Yeah. He had no opportunities. I mean, maybe trying to build up to his first duplicate. This is the kind of thing. The Gladiators are just not being able to get into the team fight. They're not trying to take the left-hand side for space. They're just very one-dimensionally trying to attack, attack, attack. Here's a replay of Tuber on the big brig when he was able to get 2 whip shot kills as well, though. Not too bad, not too shabby.
Real thunk to that animation, isn't it? Really feel it. It's quite visceral. Anyway, the Gladiators are in. Assassin is going to fall. Finally an opening here for the Gladiators to try and take. The Justice going to be looking for opportunities to turn it around. That is a wonderful kill. Shu goes down. Kevster with the pulse bomb forces out, I believe, the Transcendence there, so has to be used. Kevster still in the action now. Bebe just leading the charge as well, playing right into the front lines. Discord Orb in hand. Has to play right back now. Doesn't want to get taken out by that bomb. But still, Muse falling. Mirror as well, duplicating over to the Brigitte. Of course, he builds up the rally, but doesn't really have the oomph they need to carry this over the finish line.
No, and with those mines on the point from Mag, it just zoned everybody off from being able to play the objective. Now there's only 20 seconds left, and pressure from Decay forces out the Trance. Mirror's already died. This has just been all over the place from the Gladiators.
And Decay's licking his lips, looking for the perfect pulse bomb opportunity. Shu, meanwhile, leading it in with his team. What a pulse bomb right round the side. Probably not going to be able to get the D-Mech. Maybe Space so low here. Shu goes down in the end. Fury finds him onto 1 health. Muse still trying to find an opportunity in this fight now as the overtime ticks 2 on the board. Is anybody going to be able to touch this one? Decay. Double blinks, triple blinks right around the corner. They're just trying to trade positioning around to potentially stall this one out, but I don't think they've got the bodies. Better spawners coming in for the Gladiators. They just about take it.
By the skin of their teeth. I don't think you can be happy with that if you're on the Gladiators. You can be relieved, perhaps, that you have an opportunity to contest Checkpoint B, but there's something seriously wrong with how they were taking those team fights. The final fight, they managed to take a little bit of space, escort their backline in safely, but now there's an EMP advantage for Assassin. Mirror makes the move over to the Sombra himself. They'll just about have an EMP towards the end of this time back, I think, but it's probably going to be quite slow for Mirror, unless he can really turn up the tempo, but the Gladiators have been stalled out here a lot. It's been Justice imposing their will upon the battlefield.
Yes, and when you're playing these mirror comps, they might be able to get this kill here. Fury's really alone right now into the bottom section of the map. So low. Being chased out eventually is going to get back to the safety of his team. Slowly but surely, the Gladiators working their way in. EMP catches, though. Kevster is susceptible right now. A huge bomb over the top. That's Space and Shu gone. The rally, though, is going to give the Gladiators a bit of health, but already they're just marking their targets. Muse, with the Discord Orb slapped onto him. It's easy pickings for Decay. In fact, he wants a little bit more. Almost goes for the blink melee, almost takes him out, and he's got the advantage. That recall forced out earlier means Kevster, he can't take the fight, has to back away. No progress on the board, a minute 30 left. Mirror only building up to 50% of his EMP.
And that's what I was talking about. Mirror is not going to be able to build these EMPs quickly. It's not a great comp for that. But all right, he's halfway there. I want to talk about Kevster as well, though, because they committed Rally and Pulse Bomb in that fight. But the Pulse forced out Bebe's Transcendence. So that could end up being crucial. If Mirror can get off a free EMP, that could be a big opening, thanks to Kevster's Pulse. But again, Mirror only up to 60% is just going to have the EMP by the time this time bank is whittled away.
Yes, and I really don't get this kind of composition that's being played. I mean, in theory, if you think you're better at the mirror match, it might work, but now they're starting to put pressure onto the point.
Mirror hacked!
Force on the rally, and that's mirror hacked up. That's the, I mean, down and out. That's going to be 70% just passively building up this EMP. We're down to 45 seconds left. This is a prolonged fight. The Gladiators are investing ultimates into it. Shu used the Transcendence because they thought it was winnable. The way this is going, the Justice are just going to be jumping on it now. They're not going to get any stagger kills at the end of it, but 30 seconds remaining. How many EMPs is Assassin going to be built up before Mirror even gets one?
Exactly. Mirror has been lapped at this
he's been
point.
spotted!
Assassin is playing so much better on the Sombra, and the whole of the Washington Justice are doing a great job at scouting Mirror, pushing him out, stopping him from being able to build up that EMP. Assassin is going to get this second EMP quicker than Mirror gets his first.
Pulse bomb off onto the side. Decay, how does he get that onto Skewed? I think he only caught it onto the shield. An opportunity for Skewed to try and escape that, but he just failed. Now rolling through them, this is looking...
Mirror! EMP out of his own EMP!
Oh my god.
Is there a bigger Sombra diff play than that? I mean, Assassin was outplaying him the entire time through, and then he gives him that little style move to finish it off.
I'm shaking my head at it, honestly, because I wasn't even paying attention to the EMP. The fight was lost before
it was
even gone out.
It was already lost. I love the dominance, you know? He's getting firmly in his head. And this to me, Bren, as well, is really cool to see from the Justice, because normally they'll crumble a little. When you go aggressive against the Justice and they have to make decisions really quickly, when they're on the attack as well, this is often even more showcased, but they struggle. Usually they struggle to deal with high tempo. And in this game so far, they've dealt with everything the Gladiators have thrown at them and then coordinated their own counterattacks afterwards.
Yeah, here's the play. I mean, Mirror's just trying to build it up. God bless him.
He gets stunned. He gets stunned and then EMP'd as well. It was a combo effort from Tuber and Assassin.
I will say, I mean, I'm just disappointed, I think, currently what the Gladiators are chucking at it. Now, this map is not over. There's still opportunities for them to win it, but it feels like they are playing into what the Justice like to do. Playing these slow compositions, giving the Justice ample time to make decisions is when the Justice look best, in my opinion. And fair play to the Justice. When they were playing reactive, I suppose, when they were playing the rush comps in the first map, they definitely look well and improved. But I have expected more from the Gladiators out of this series. Now, again, to reiterate, it's not over yet. Still an opportunity for them to get the full hold here, and get the map potentially a draw as well.
And here you'll see the Gladiators playing a more aggressive composition. Without the Zen involved, they have the Bionate, the dives, the Nano Boost that they can apply onto Muse. But the Justice are doing a good job here of just trying to spread out and take positioning, pressure these players, and get Bebe and Tuber into good positions.
Mag just trying to set himself up here. I mean, you can see how hard he's being marked. Now, it's a bit of a Sombra diff here, because Assassin... And that's the Gladiators not even running a Sombra on the other side. But with that hacked pack, Mag can just play so freely right now. Decay ends up going down, though. That's Kevster getting the better of his opposition. And now they can just set up some sort of dive attempt right onto the back line.
Good dive.
Getting Muse there is quite good for them. Putting some pressure onto the point, but the Gladiators should be winning this one.
They should, and it's about being able to capitalize on Bebe and Tuber, sorry. Although he is looking like a bit of a little snack for the Gladiators. Bebe and Tuner, as they rotate in through that choke point, you need to be in position to dive on top of them. And so that's why you see Mag and Decay trying to bring everyone away from the choke. They're saying, look at me, and providing the space for Bebe and Tuber to walk in. It hasn't worked yet, and the Gladiators now are starting to get their ult cycle online, but there will be continuous objective pressure from the Justice, trying to split the Gladiators' attention both ways.
He's taking a ton of damage. He's hacked up around the corner, has to be healed. Nano Boost is applied. The hack fades away. They're looking to try and make it work. Shield bash onto Kevster. That was almost brutal. Almost died to his own pulse bomb. And Muse is kind of caught, actually. There's the pulse bomb onto 2. Decay working magic across the map. That is definitely going to open things up for them now.
Mag and Decay just working together so beautifully there. Mag laid down his minefield and it blocked the escape for Muse. So Bebe and Tuber managed to disengage from the nano-boosted Winston, and then the nano-boosted Winston was stuck. Muse was just stuck in enemy territory, and when he tried to leap out, he got whacked around by the mines on the floor. And now, best case scenario, a draw for the Gladiators. This map has not gone how they wanted it to.
Let's take a look at this pulse bomb play as well. I mean, Muse is he's lost. He's lost. He doesn't know where he is. Where's your 401k? It doesn't exist. He's lost, Josh. He didn't know what was going on. Sets up the pulse bomb. Decay. He's just laughing all the way to the bank.
I don't think he was thinking about retirement plans.
No, he wasn't. I don't know where that came from. I think probably TikTok or something. Mira's going for the beam to try and... That's to try and spot Assassin, actually. Usually the Sombra's going to be pathing around that area, so he's trying to bring him out of the stealth. But the Justice, it's a big Bionade, actually. Connects onto 2, so on the defense here, the Gladiators getting a good win, potentially on the board. I mean, the hack onto Mira is dangerous. Assassin knows he can pressure him because he's not going to get the support of his team.
Yeah, but this is all fine. From the Justice's point of view here, they've just made a compositional swap. Moved Bebe over to the Ana, Mag to the Winston, and now it's about just generating big ults. The Gladiators are going to try and press this advantage to build up their ult cycle, which is good. So now the Justice have to not only get their own ults, but force them out of the Gladiators too. Because the Gladiators can win a team fight with a Nano into a Primal, or a Nano into Mirror into a Duplicate, or a Rally to sustain them as Assassin's EMP comes up. There are wrinkles here into how the Justice attack, but there's only one tick required. So it does simplify things somewhat. Washington should still be able to just generate an ult bank, force them out the Gladiators, and take this one quite smoothly. It's a flowchart Overwatch.
Just going to build up the ults. Gladiators have got a lot to try and push them away and secure the draw here now. Especially if they rotate them around nicely. Hack onto space means that there's going to be an opportunity actually created here, especially to get the teammate they do. Focusing down the targets. Uses in the backline, has to leap away. Decay needs to be careful, but of course he has that rally armor on top, turning him into a bit of a raid boss. What a Bionade from Shu. 3 players targeted. Bebe cannot be healed in the middle of all of that. He's going to get taken down as a result. To get the nano boost off onto Mag, but Muse, falling very, very low, has to back off now.
And with Bebe down, though, thanks to Shu's Bionade, it's a mini reset for the Justice. I wondered whether they were going to play more aggressively there to force out more ults. But they didn't. And now, as they push back in, they don't really have that many tools. That would have been a great opportunity for the Justice with 2 minutes left to be pushing in with Muse having wasted his Primal or Shu having used his Nano Boost already. Justice don't have the tools really to secure a big team fight win, even after EMP, and it only catches Mira.
Only catches onto Mira. They can even have to bring him down. So difficult for them to do, and that's the nano boost onto Skewed, swinging away. Of course, he's got all the healing in the world. Stagger onto Fury.
And this is where the momentum shifts in favor of the Gladiators. Assassin's moving over to McCree as well, and all of these problems we were talking about with the Justice playing slowly, they do tend to rear their heads up on attack rather than defense. So we were heaping praise upon the Washington squad, but they've still got to get it done. And now they don't have the ball to be able to contest the objective. They don't have the Sombra to be able to draw eyes and build up a big ult. It's all about just finishing the fight in a very head-on manner.
Potentially trying to win by boring us to death. We'll see.
No. Decay is
rude.
not ever going to let that happen.
That is rude of me, I shouldn't be saying it. But we'll see. The Gladiators with a lot of ults now to try and secure this draw. Mag is, oh my goodness, slept up, stunned up. That's Kempster. I think he got stunned out of the post bomber.
He did.
That's going to be hard for them to try and do that. Mag actually getting nanoed as well as he was bionaded. He didn't get the healing off the back of it. But now, as I was saying about boredom, I mean, Decay's just taking matters into his own hands now. The post bomb kill to set things up. No turret to try and persuade them otherwise. Molten Core across the point, locking up a decent section of it. That's self-destruct into the corner. It pushes them all away, and that's going to be the win. Oh my goodness. Just quite clean and clinical play there from the Justice at the near end of things. And I gotta say, again, reiterating, expected a little bit more here from the Gladiators. Now, 2-0 in the series here for the Washington Justice. Fair play to the Justice. Clearly have worked on a lot of their issues. And looking like a pretty good team.
Yep, and this is slowly slipping out of the hands of the Gladiators. The best that they could hope for at this point is a reverse sweep, which would put them in the 5th seed. So things not looking so good here. The Washington Justice could be all the way up at 3rd if they're able to pull off the win in a 3-1 or 3-0 fashion. This is a big turnaround, and the Washington squad is looking great.
They certainly are. We'll find out on the other side of this break just how far this series might potentially go. The Justice, though, gaining a little bit more speed and potentially walking away with a series. We'll find out soon enough. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
The clock is ticking and we're less than a week away from the Summer Showdown tournament. Will you pick the winner correctly? We'll head over to pick'em.overwatchleague.com to submit your picks for a chance to win $500 and the Lucio statue. And we'll see if you're able to do it, because I imagine straight after this game as well, the tournament knockout predictions will be unlocked as well, so you can get those in.
Who would you say is the favorite for the Summer Showdown at this point, Brent, out of all the teams in the league?
I'm quite bullish on Dallas, personally.
Okay. All right.
Still to this day. I don't know. There's something about it that I feel like they just play with so much confidence.
Yeah, I'm big on Shanghai, very big on the Shanghai Dragons, who have two players on this Tracer top 10, weirdly enough. But let's focus on the match at hand, because it's Decay and Kevster who are going toe-to-toe in this matchup overall. And Decay, we've known forever that he's just an unbelievable star talent. He is a carry player, especially when you can get him onto roles like the Tracer and he can have big impact. He's not had the explosive year that people were expecting him to have, but I think part of that is the way in which the Washington Justice plays. Like I said, always trying to catch the aggression from their opponents. But Decay had some big pulse bombs that turned things around there on Hanamura and offered them opportunities, especially the stick on Skewed at the end, to capture the point and come out with the win. Avoid that draw, which would have been a big opportunity missed for the Justice.
Certainly would. Taking a look at the Hollywood, our next map here with the map leaderboard. The Washington Justice, unfortunately, have not had a good time with it. Yeah, 2 top times set against them. Against, obviously, the Fusion and the Spark a lot earlier. 2 years ago? Yeah, what year is this? 2019, 2020, 2021. God. Yeah.
You're like my grandfather. You've forgotten where you are, who you are, what's going on.
I'll be honest with you. COVID took a toll on me in terms of just, I have no idea what time zone we are in. It is a blur the last couple of years, but yeah. We're looking at the match at hand here, and currently, as a little reminder here, the Washington Justice 1 map away from taking the series away from the Gladiators.
You know, we have another interesting wrinkle when it comes to these playoff matchups, or rather the knockout matchups, let's call them that, which is that if the Gladiators aren't able to take this to a map 5, guess who their first opponent is going to be in knockout spread? It's going to be the Justice again. So if the Gladiators lose this match 3-0 or 3-1, they have the 6th seed, and the Justice would have the number 3 seed. And they'd have to face off against each other again tomorrow to be able to make it to Hawaii. That is a situation, in my opinion, that they would like to drastically avoid. The Gladiators might be able to have some level of improvement if having watched the game and VOD review and stuff like that, but I don't know about you, but I'd much rather face off against the Boston Uprising right now, especially when you see how this game has gone.
Certainly, yeah. And the preparation that comes around overnight, it's difficult, I think, for a lot of these teams as well. That's why seeding is so important in the knockouts, is because you get just that little bit more time to prepare if you do end up being in the top seeds, at least in NA. Now, Gladiators not wasting any time already. It's been 20 seconds and they've worked their way in off on the flank. This is going to be spotted, and the Justice are going to be trying to think of a way to approach this, disrupt any sort of dive that comes through now from the Gladiators.
Look at the reposition of their backline. Bebe and Tuba already going into the dark room, and now Muse on them, but he can't commit fully in. Otherwise, he's going to get body blocked by Mag and Fury and taken out. They've gotten all of this space, but they haven't really been successful in the dive. Oh, there they go, though. How on earth does Decay die there?
That's quite nice, yeah. See, a lovely sleep dart into the Bionade. Not going to get ate up. And that is the Gladiators playing with a bit of that pace, that speed that we were looking for. The comp they're playing, especially with the Ana, it sets them up for so many different win conditions, assuming that the Bionades get hit, and it's Shu, so most times it's probably going to get hit. And yeah, it plays beautifully against the Justice. The Justice who are looking for, I guess, kind of ults or weaknesses in positioning. Let's take a look at this replay.
This is how Decay died. So at the very beginning, oh, he blinks in. I think he got whip shot back or something, and maybe didn't have his recall available. Very unusual for a Tracer to die that early on, but great pressure from space. That set things up wonderfully.
Yeah, just opened things up. And high ground control is available for Washington here. So the way the teamfire went, they didn't contest last minute, so they still are going to have control of it. Decay building up this pulse bomb. Absolute menace on the battlefield. I mean, you never know when he's just going to pull something beautiful out. He gets stunned out of the pulse bomb, but it matters not. Rewarded with the kill onto Muse. Tracks him out of the sky.
That's a very weird one. I mean, the Justice are now firmly in control of this, and they have an EMP to be able to play around too. I don't understand how Muse died so quickly there, though. Sure, he has Discord Orb on him, but what were the backline of the Gladiators up to? Oh, and now Assassin kills Kevster as well. The Gladiators just need to compose themselves here. They are getting destroyed.
Okay, the Nano Boost was applied to Muse when he was hacked up, so he can't even leap in. He's not even building up this Primal Rage.
No.
Now the bubble burst.
That is such a play from Assassin. He has been a monster on this Sombra. He's been all over the Gladiators.
They're going to EMP engage this one. Mirror's gone down. He might not even need it.
It's
possibly
so
to retake the high ground control. It is. Gladiators are just kind of really I don't know. They're trying to hunt down specific targets, but individually.
They're trying to play fast, but it's introducing mistakes to their own play. They do need to slow things down a little bit just to compose themselves and set up properly. They're trying to go with pace like a top team would, but they're making more mistakes than a team like Dallas does. And so it's all falling to pieces for them. I mean, someone clearly should have called a different play there when they had lost Kevster at the beginning, but
yeah.
Instead,
by the way,
they keep feeding ults.
Pace, word of the day. I've counted us, Josh, saying it numerous times, and I blame the Euros, I think, for it. Because it gets used a lot.
This meta, though, the tempo is really important. Like the speed you're playing at, it defines everything.
Well, that's a lovely EMP. The Transcendence from Bebe as well, just to give the Justice a bit of healing to try and take this team fight further forward. Decay, I mean, the guy is an absolute monster, just tracking everybody out of the sky, even pressuring Mirror. Has to use that duplicate again onto the Brigitte. The first time we've seen this, yeah, and it really doesn't allow you to get too much done. He builds up the rally, of course, is going to be building that up pretty quickly. It's going to give his team a bit more defensibility in this next team fight, but now faded out of it. That armor is going to fade eventually, and the Justice still in control of the high ground.
They are, and their backline is so tanky. This rally armor is only just disappearing from Bebe and Tuba.
No way.
Oh, look at Decay.
Decay, how does he get away with that? I have no idea how that sleep dart didn't hit, but he finds the kill. Still, the Gladiators, with the forward positioning there, are able to get enough kills that this card is going to start to move and get some progress. It's going to be the recontest from the Justice. They have to find an in here. A lot of shots coming in onto Fury. Decay is in the spawn, trying to get the spawn camp. Onto Shu. Okay, takes the lift up into the sky. Oh, what a sleep dart! What a sleep dart! Shu, is he going to go for it? Okay. Didn't have the Bionade, I believe, to try and set up the kill. I potentially think there's a window there, but this is a scrappy fight that's taking place.
Yeah, in the midst of all of this, Mag and Fury have just been trying to ping-pong onto the payload to build up time for Assassin to get this EMP online. And now the EMP wipes the floor with the Gladiators, and they can't do anything there. Anna had only just come back to the fight.
Shambles. Absolute shambles is what's occurring. I mean, it's a team fight on multiple fronts, but I guess the communication structure gets so chaotic when Decay is spawn camping you, and you know, Shu's like, I can't get out of spawn, guys. I can't support you as much as you're taking this team fight.
Oh, here we go. Proactivity, actually, from the Justice. Looking to hack Mirror, but they've left the back cap open. The one time, Bren, that the Justice are the attackers, the aggressors, the initiators, and they leave the back door open.
God, that's going to instill some Pavlovian response that they never play a proactive ever again. They're going to always be reactive from this point on. They'd be punished with that back cap. I don't believe what I'm witnessing.
The coaches are in the back room saying, never again, never again. We are never Diva Bomb initiate. Yeah, get it out. Rip that page out of the playbook. Diva Bomb initiate, get it gone. Never want to see it again.
Oh my word. Okay, with the Gladiators.
They have big ults to be able to get a decent time back here.
They can really, really get this cart moving. Sleep Dart, I believe, was on Decay there, potentially, or my eyes were deceiving me. I'm not too sure. Either way, duplicate online. Mirror wants to lead it in. He's trying to build up this bomb. Transcendence is going to be used there. Bebe doesn't want to be feeding any more damage away. Wants to keep his team back into the fight. A nice EMP is finally going to be fading. Yeah, that's not really going to be following up into any kills. I correct myself there. Not nice at all. Muse falling very, very low, but has the Bionade.
Yeah, and what do you do here? I mean, the Diva Bomb just on the payload, and this is devastating. That single mistake from the Washington Justice, and the Gladiators have grabbed it with both hands.
And that's Bubble on the point as well, just eating up all the damage as the respawns come in. And Fury is going to be just dodging and juking, but he can be healed. It's actually Kevster who's just making sure that Bebe is just locked in spawn, unable to heal him when he's coming out. So that is going to be time on the board there for the Gladiators, getting that cap off the back of just one mistake from the Justice. Yeah.
I'm not even sure who did it, to be honest. I don't know who to give the credit to. You know, probably somebody like Kevster, but who knows? Our eyes, the observers, were not quite in watching that. It was unexpected to them, as it was to the Washington Justice as well. But yeah, the EMP that came out towards the end is one of the only ones that hasn't worked for the Washington Justice and for Assassin, who's been otherwise excellent on the Sombra. He caught 2 divas, which is unusual. Oh, and here's the
we go.
back replay. It was Kevster.
No. Bebe knew he couldn't reach it in time. He immediately responded.
So he did.
Yeah, Bebe immediately responded. I don't really know why he was playing around that corner, though, in the first place. He left the high ground and dropped down and was taking a flank.
Yeah, I think he was trying to provide Harmony Orbs and Discords to the rest of his team as they were going for the initiation, if you're meaning about Bebe's positioning, because obviously you need line of sight for the Discord and Harmony Orb to work, so yeah, it just doesn't quite work out. But okay, that's an in for the Gladiators. Crucially, though, they do not cap with over a minute on the clock. So if this goes to OT, there will be a guarantee of the Justice having another opportunity to attack. Even that was a little bit shaky towards the end.
We'll see. Yeah, the casual reminder as well that was at the bottom of your screens just then is the knockout's going to be taking place tomorrow all day, so you don't want to miss out on that in the slightest. You're going to be seeing all of these teams that are in the top 6 in North America, as well as APAC as well, competing
and maybe
to go
a rematch
to
of
Hawaii.
this.
Yes, potentially a rematch of this. Now we see the Gladiators on the defense now. A lot of damage being shoved into Assassin. Assassin just trying to build up that EMP. Going to get healed up. Bebe also just going for these volleys. Has the Discord marked onto Mirror still. So Mirror is obviously going to have to just shake off that Discord orb for a moment, but it matters not. That's Assassin in the back getting that kill.
And look how much his EMP is charged up already. The hack onto the Diva turns space into an ult battery, and Assassin's got an EMP online within 50 seconds, 55.
Unbelievable. Yeah, just really astounding Sombra play coming out from Assassin here. It's going to be the kill delayed onto space. 5.5 minutes, Josh. That's a ton of time now.
Yeah, and honestly, man, if these guys think they're having trouble dealing with some of these North American Sombras, wait until they challenge Lip. Oh boy, the Summer Showdown knockouts are going to be absolutely unbelievable. Assassin now, though, how do you get value out of this EMP aggressively? Maybe if Decay can work his way onto the high ground so that you can have Mag and Decay follow up, but Kevster's keeping him at bay for now.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you just force the fight down to the cart by pushing it down. Oh, he's going for the neutral hack as well, actually.
Little hack.
Yeah, and it really does deny them a lot of positioning to try and engage. I think move back down. That's going to be the EMP setup. Muse has taken out the post bomb from Decay as Kevster also returns with 1, but I don't think it's going to matter for much. Trying to go for these default hacks again, but the Justice are the ones who are winning this out. He actually did spot Kevster in the back here. Is he going to be able to get the follow-up? Yes, Decay is there to help him out. Bebe did pay for it with his life, but this cart moves forwards. They're still looking for some proactive kills on top of it. Decay with the beat down into the recall. Skewed is out.
Beautiful little animation cancel as well, but my word, what a setup there with Mag booping off into the EMP. This is the kind of Justice playmaking that we haven't seen so far from them in these big matches against other top teams in North America. Decay now harassing Kevster, and on the other side for the Gladiators, Mirror has got to make magic happen with this duplicate. But Muse is hacked again. Assassin having so much impact.
Oh, I mean, Mirror can't play forwards. He almost died to the remech coming around the corner. He can't even build up the ult. He can't even remech. Hacked up as well, taken out of the duplicate form. This has been shambles. The remech comes through Decay. Oh, he's stalking his prey. You can see Space eating up a ton of that damage, but Fury is going to go down. Transcendence used into the alleyways right now. Decay trying to build up that pulse bomb, has it. The Blink's online as well, looking for an opportunity around the corner. It's a big EMP that catches onto 2. The question is, can they win it? Decay just chopping and changing the angles up, but it is going to be the teamfight win now for the Gladiators, so just about stopping it there before they capped up checkpoint B.
An uncharacteristic overuse of ultimates from the Justice. They're normally cautious, sometimes to the point of being a problem for them. But that time, Assassin throws in the EMP. It does catch a lot of people, but he himself has to translocate out. They've already lost Fury. There's no sightlines for Bebe to do damage, and Mag and Decay decide not to opt in on it. So that EMP was built very quickly, but didn't find too much value. And now sent back to the spawn queue, but again, still built up to 40%. It's not really slowing Assassin down too much.
Yeah. Luckily for the Justice, the positioning of the cart means that they have to play at the furthest back reaches of the high ground. They're slowly trying to take map control back from them. And Kevster with this pulse bomb in hand. Might be looking for a golden opportunity here.
This
He's
would be
found
big.
his mark. That's a lovely stick, and they combo it up. As this was happening, though, Mira is going to go down to Assassin. Assassin's still alive, trying to build up. I believe this EMP is still going on, and the fight has been split across all over the map. Right now, Kev's just trying to dodge and juke and avoid. He gets the beat down. Assassin, he knew where the translocator was.
That's a huge pick. That really is, because otherwise Kevster going down there would have created a 6v5 scenario for the Justice, with Assassin continuing to build up towards the EMP. That's a clutch play from Kevster. What a reactive play in the middle of all of that, as he was getting harassed left, right, and center. Nevertheless, though, minute and 50, and the Justice are coming back in with a trance to play defensively and an EMP for the offense. Not fast enough, though.
Aggression. Yeah, this is what you want to see, I think, if you're a fan of the Gladiators. Miro again getting caught there with the whip shot. Unfortunate. They are losing this team fight, and now they're pressuring the card as well. They have to pull these players back. Fury, though, I mean, he's just essentially found Shu alone. Onto the bridge, takes him out. The mirrors onto the card. They've split them across all over the place. You gotta appreciate the proactivity. Okay, Gladiators are coming back in now with ultimates and players here. Fury using that bomb, but obviously went down to the self-destructive space, so will not be able to get back into the mech. Assassin is eyeing him up like he's potentially looking for an EMP target.
Yeah, he's hoping that the rest of the Justice can hold on to the high ground, but the Gladiators are going aggressive. They want to push out the Justice backline so that there's nobody there to play offensively with Assassin and his EMP. Gladiators have to play offense on defense right now in order to hold back the Justice. And just throws out the mines. I mean, what else can you do? You're reaching the end of the duplicate. But they haven't really found that big pick that they need.
EMP from Assassin, they're going to use it to try and punish the aggression now from the Gladiators. They led in with the nano boost, and Muse built up the Primal Rage, had to use it immediately. But not going to be getting too much done with it. Still, Mag goes down, which is going to be spelling disaster for them, especially as they're staggering out the rest of these kills. The Gladiators, they sense blood in the water, and they're going to be diving straight onto it.
I love this proactive defense from the Gladiators. It has stopped the Justice ever getting into position. And Assassin has had 3 EMPs now, all of which have done nothing. They've been used, sometimes well, sometimes poorly. The follow-up never there. And the Gladiators, thanks to that back cap, are staring at a win on Hollywood.
Yeah, the Gladiators really in a good position now to try and take this one. Chuba has the rally arm. Assassin, he moved over to the Ash, actually, holding onto the high ground. Decay with a pulse bomb, goes for the beatdown. Oh, not even up to use it. The sleep from Shu. What a heroic play. That is incredible. But still no one is dealing with the Ash on the high ground. Assassin still coming up with the clutch pickoffs. The overtime now kicking off, and Muse has fallen once more. Nano Boost is online and potentially ready and waiting. He's going to be offloading it onto Mira. Mira has to try and clutch this one now. They're putting and investing everything into him to try and make it work. Self-destruct up into the air. Fury wants to push them all away, but that's a spoof bomb into the close quarters. Decay, he's found his target, and now he's looking for more. Muse with the Discord Orb on top of him. He is probably not going to be long for this world. The heals come through, but not enough recall to dodge that self-destruct. Just about getting it away, out of the way of that remech as well, so he avoided the brunt of that damage. Gladiators just chucking and tossing bodies at the objective to try and stall it out, but not enough.
What a beastly carry performance from both DPS players from the Justice. I feel like that hasn't been there so far this season. The moments where Assassin has popped off, Decay's been a bit quiet. That moment there towards the end of Checkpoint B, they keep themselves alive on Hollywood thanks to the heroics of both individuals. Assassin with the opening kill onto Mira, making the clutch swap over to the Ash. His Sombra so far in the series has been great, and Decay's Tracer, always reliable.
Mines to block off the card, I suppose, and stopping at least somebody from trying to pressure him. Decay, you can see him trying to stop them from diving into the backline. The bubble is going to get broken. Primal Rage used by Muse, already fallen down very, very low. In fact, they've got the damage to follow it up. Self-destruct now from spaces. Oh, actually, not even space. That's Mira, I believe, onto the duplicate there to try and force them away. But still, how do you stop Decay when he's just getting away with this?
It's impossible. Again, Muse dies first and the Gladiators can't convert on the team fight. As far as I'm aware, still 0 in terms of the percentage of converting on those first team fights when their main tank falls. And now Assassin has this long sight line to work with. What a push this would be for the Justice.
Kev's with a pulse bomb and a dream. He's Got to find just one target for it. Comes in straight away, lays it down. This card is moving forwards. They're going to be able to get the overtime going at least, but the shots are hitting true. And at the end of the day, a 53-second difference there. And an opportunity to take away the map here for the Justice.
That's unbelievable that they managed to capture that all the way through. With how good the Gladiators' point B defense was, it still gets full completed. That's a morale killer. If the Gladiators come away with a clean win on Hollywood there, maybe their mental fortitude gets back into the right place and they're able to restart the Gladiators' ship and set it off in the right direction for a reverse sweep. But now the Justice have clawed their way back into this game, and it feels like both their DPS players are on fire. And I did not realize that Assassin had such a good Ashe. He was popping heads. And his positioning was so aggressive as well. He pushed the spawn door of the Gladiators, realizing that the LA team wanted to go aggressive onto him. If Assassin had stayed back and played the long sight line, he was toast. Kevster was looking for him, but instead they scored it all the way through. I love that play from the Justice.
Really, the DPS of the Justice showing their depth, I think. And this is play from Decay. Yeah, perfect timing. Very intelligent when it comes to just, I suppose, his usage of the pulse bomb. Always saving it, ready and waiting for the right time.
Yeah, he's had so many big moments. He had one at the end of Hanamura on Skewed. He had one onto Mirror to be able to secure checkpoint B. That was fantastic. A couple there onto the back line. He's always good for them.
A minute is what the Justice have here. Juba makes a switch over, I believe just offering the speed boost so they can get out quickly. And it's going to be a pretty familiar composition. Assassin is the player I'm going to be watching. I mean, we've seen him build up some rapid EMPs. His neutral hacks have been very good as well in terms of creating opportunities to strike and pounce on. And he's going to be trying to find them again.
He got a hack on Muse there, but they couldn't really follow up on it. Already nearly at 50% of his EMP charge.
20 seconds.
He's getting pocketed. He's frontlining essentially here.
Yeah. They're trying to put everything into him. A dive comes through into the back. Has to relocate away from this. 12 seconds left. Bebe goes down.
They don't look like they have many opportunities. Mag needs to stay alive. Get a health pack. Recontest. Where is Decay? Miles away. Who's going to touch this objective?
Well, the overtime is at least going to start burning here, but the Gladiators are completely healthy. And the Justice's composition, it's just too slow to try and build up the ultimates in that 1 minute that they had.
They're touching the point pretty well through.
They are, but look at this, the pressure onto Bebe. They know that he's just not going to be able to get with the rest of his team. Pulse bomb as well, that's Kevster finding that. Easy does it, the old 1-2. The backline taken out. EMP connects onto 5. Do not tell me Decay is about to turn this one when I have already just sold defeat. No, they're not going to be able to touch the point in time. So, an opportunity for the Gladiators. A single tick and a minute 53 to get it done.
Hollywood Point A, though, is very difficult. You can see there that with that little time on the clock, Assassin wasn't quite able to get into a position to set up his team for a win, and then they were on the back foot with only 10 seconds left. Gladiators' proactive defense there working really nicely for them, but they need the map win. A draw at this point isn't quite what the Gladiators are looking for. Sure, they'll take it as a worst-case scenario, but what the Gladiators are really after here is a decisive first win on the scoreboard to be able to take this momentum and head back into the series. Reverse sweeps are very difficult. You need that initial mentality boost to make you believe that it's doable, that it's achievable.
And yeah, if it's going to begin, it begins here. And in terms of the stakes, of course, remember, they're playing for the seeding of the Summer Showdown tournament cycle, of course, as well the overall playoffs, which is going to be occurring at the end of the season. Every match going to be mattering towards that.
If the Justice is able to come away with the win, they tie up the Gladiators in terms of overall standings. And again, if the Washington Justice are able to win overall in the series by 3-0 or 3-1, then they have to play the Gladiators again to be able to get through to knockouts. So the Gladiators do not want that. Gladiators' minimum case scenario want this to go to 5, even if they lose. But of course, a win would be perfect.
Already, the Gladiators not wasting any time. They're going to get straight past this choke point. This is very reminiscent of their last attack, which was rapid. They split apart the Justice, and they dove on one particular section. You can see Kevso already up onto the high ground here, looking for a target. The backline, so susceptible, almost going down, but now they've just coordinated it. Bebe has fallen. Chuba's next. That's going to be no more heals.
Really important pickoffs. Fury being demacked early on is almost as good as being able to take out Decay right at the beginning of the prior team fight. And that's it. The Gladiators, with a pretty decisive win here on Hollywood. Yeah, they made a couple of mistakes, but overall, a much, much better performance from your LA team. And this keeps the series alive, at least. Like I said, the Gladiators are looking for the reverse sweep, but failing that, at least getting it to 5 will give them a potentially easier matchup against the Boston Uprising. So much on the line here as we head towards the Summer Showdown.
Absolutely. And we'll see just how far the series is really going to be taken between these two juggernaut teams. On the other side of this break, ladies and gentlemen, even more Overwatch League action going to be coming on the other side of it. So do not go anywhere. You've got about enough time. Get a drink, cup of tea, you know, get your grandmother, your dog on the sofa, you know, watch some Overwatch, some quality time. We'll see you soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. And yeah, this series potentially going to distance here between these two teams. And the Justice, I think a team that has been making a lot of improvements from day to day to day. And the Gladiators just trying to return the action that's been going their way here in this series. Now, the next map we're going to be going to, I want to give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. It is going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar, and it has spurred some decision making when it comes to the substitutes.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what kind of stuff people come out with here, because to me, this should favor the style that the Gladiators have been trying to play. Much more aggressive, built around the Ana and Winston rather than the Zen and the Ball, which has been the majority of what the Washington Justice have been trying to trend towards, either that or the slower-paced comps in general. So, yeah, this is an interesting one in terms of how the map dynamic works, because Hollywood and Gibraltar both favor the way that the Gladiators want to play, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get the results. Poke compositions are still really good when it comes to Gibraltar. How many years in a row have we seen Zen be used on Gibraltar to massive impact here? And when you look at the players who are still in, you've got Tuba, so you're expecting Brigitte, but you've also got Jerry in here instead of Assassin, who, for me, was probably the player that was playing the best from the Justice. So the Jerry pick, to me, indicates that they're probably going to want to play a long-range hit scan and then a Tracer alongside it, something like that. They might even go as crazy as the Ash Echo, but I think Ash Tracer is more likely.
Definitely a possibility, and yeah, Bird ringing for Mirror as well, which indicates to me the potential for the hit scan that's going to be coming out as well with both these teams potentially trying to mirror each other. Of course, Skewed's still in on top of it, so Brigitte on the cards for both these teams, and Gibraltar is where we're going to be seeing them face off as well. And I got to say, Josh, I mean, I don't know, are you leaning to one team or the other in terms of who takes this map?
I think it is favored for the Gladiators. I think when you think about the way that they've been trying to play, feeding Muse the Nano Boost, playing aggressive, trying to take control of the game, you have more options to do that if you are in control of the high ground. And then when you're in control of the high ground, it's better to play aggressive rather than let the fights come to you. So this entire map could be turned on its head just by who wins those key team fights that grant high ground control. But at the very beginning, like just in terms of defending checkpoint A, I would expect the Gladiators to be better at that than the Justice. Now, having said that, I also predicted the Gladiators to win the series overall, and it doesn't look like that's the way we're going. So I might be underrating the Justice here again.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, possibly. I certainly was. I'll be happy to admit that. I'm always pleased to see teams kind of living up to the potential and expectations that we were setting for them as well. I mean, part of that has been just the DPS line of the Justice, Decay and Assassin, obviously now Jerry coming in, but I mean, these guys have just been popping off the entire series. Just ridiculous plays being made from them.
Yeah, and I really, really liked Assassin playing that Sombra, so this is a very different look for the Justice. And they're hinting towards Fury playing the Zarya here as well. Of course, we did see a lot of this in the main melee. The Anabrick backline with the double bubble tank line.
I think it's just to gain control maybe to the high ground, possibly.
I'm not sure, because we have seen some teams run the Zarya already. It's not the most popular look. Most teams have gone over to Winston Diva. But Fury could still have some pretty big impact here, and it combos a little nicer with the McCree to be able to get your backline all as one big four-man unit moving forwards.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more durability, I suppose, in small instances. I think Diva over longer team fights definitely provides you more damage mitigation, but a bit more damage maybe as well if you get in the right position for it. That is the bubble to cleanse off that Bionade, which is quite nice. Mag can take the fight up close and personal with them. The leap in! Oh, that's done so much damage to them. Muse has fallen.
Yep, massive. Oh, and another Bionade as well, actually. The counter Bionade coming out from Shu, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to be enough. The Washington Justice have quite firmly and positively taken control of that.
Yes, so winning that initial team fight, quite important for them as well, especially if they set up some of these the forward positions. I feel like Gibraltar on attack is so much about ensuring that you take a really nice team fight for the next one.
Yeah, look at them right now, pathing up to the high ground.
And so you can see the Justice setting themselves up to succeed here, rotating up and around. Gladiators are going to try and disrupt this. Oh, that's a beautiful sleep dart, but there we go, the D-Mech onto space. Now the Nanoboost comes through. Muse Anti-nade on him, I believe, or the bio-nade comes through. Yep, so he can't be healed currently, and that is going to be opening things up for Jerry to just take him out. Can't. Any pressure? Anybody going to try? I'm pretty sure. Yep, that's probably going to be looking like a capture. No, not quite. Potentially a bit of a mistake coming out here, as I think it was Decay who walked away from the cart.
Weird situation going on there. You felt like the Justice would have been able to apply honestly, a bit more point pressure.
They walked up the cart for a moment, and a second longer, and they would have had that. I'm not kidding.
That was unusual. And now the Gladiators have been given an in back into this. Muse didn't have to use his Primal Rage. There's potential for either Tracer to make a huge play with the Pulse Bomb, but crucially, the Gladiators have taken back this high ground control.
Well, we see no recall now for Decay, and yeah, Gladiators taking back the positioning is so important.
Oh, look at that boo. Great play by Space. He knocks Bebe down to the low ground, and that's going to set the Justice back again. They have to re-flank all the way around, past their Ana, back up to the high ground, and it takes almost 10 seconds off the clock.
Very intelligent stuff coming out from Space. He's to try and get healed from the rest of his team. The bubble to try and give a bit of oomph, I suppose, to Mag as well. He's going to be diving in, taking out a half health. The rally to try and stop Muse, who's gone into their backline. This Primal Rage, though, getting away with murder. That's going to be the Deadeye. Jerry immediately cancels it. It's just to try and force away Mag. That's the Pulse Bomb. And despite the 321 health that Jerry had, not enough to try and survive that.
No, that's a fantastic play. Mag has been hacked up here as well and can't actually use his Primal. Now it's worn off. And the Gladiators are all falling weak. Kevster slept as well. So both teams...
No way.
The bomb right next to the sleeping Winston. The bubble is so good, though. And
that
Fury.
Is so nice. That could have been a disaster for them. The way that the Gladiators set up that play, it was pretty quick on their feet, I think, with it as well. Just the knowledge that they were like, okay, if we're fast with this sleep dart, we can just get the kill straight away onto Mag, but they just weren't thinking about the projected barrier. And that's going to be the capture coming out. So that's the Justice, at least going to go away with that. What they need to do now, if you are the Justice, is take control of this shuttle. It's so important.
Little harder to do with the McCree, actually, and he's being harassed continuously. This is good work by Kevster. He's just buying space for the rest of his team, and now you can see it's actually the Gladiators who are being able to come off the respawn and take control of the high ground. Plus this EMP. EMP Bionade here could be a team fight win for the Gladiators and totally reset the momentum and space for the Justice. But what is that? A zero-man EMP!
That's a zero-man EMP. I didn't even realize my voice could go that high. That is absurd. And a bit of a waste for the ultimate. Yeah, the complete opposite, because it was supposed to set up this next team fight. The leap across, Muse is trying to stay alive here. Decay with a Pulse Bomb, looking for his next target. Has to use the recall, actually. Kevster's going to try and actually punish him for that one, but... Oh, wow, had the support of Mag as well, just tickling him there. That's a kill. Beautiful one at that. But still, the Justice are finding it difficult to try and push across this higher ground. Fury going to be eating up that Bionade. Now has the South Barrier to try and purge it off and away. Nano Boost. Oh my goodness, Muse just about dodging this one, but he's done so much work already.
Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible area for the Washington Justice to be fighting in. The backline and Jerry all just getting turned to mincemeat. Pummeled there. Tenderized like a piece of steak beneath the mighty fists of Muse. And as Mag tries to respond, it just simply isn't going to be enough. You look at the ults that were invested in the middle of that fight, and okay, the Gladiators used part of their win condition, the Nano Boost, the Primal Rage, but now they're getting back up to another EMP from Birdring. And as long as he catches at least one individual, the Gladiators should be in a good position to turn this one.
Yep. And still retaining control of the shuttle. Jerry is behind them. And on the Sombra.
Recently swapped to Sombra as well, yeah.
Okay, gonna start to try and play the card, I guess, off the back of this. Still just trying to force them away from the high ground. Fury, okay, that's gonna be the grab. It traps up the tanks here. Is there gonna be any sort of follow-up? I think they're worried about Birdring. He's just kind of marking them, actually. The threat of the EMP is preventing a lot of follow-up there for the Justice.
It really is, and he's been able to push them away without using it. There's 20 seconds left, and Birdring has that EMP. Jerry miles away, EMP does land.
4 players connected, the Gladiators in prime position now to just push them off and away. Jerry going to get bubbled up, but only 50% towards the EMP, and Kevster is just tearing through them. Rally armor on top, just trying to pre-fire various angles. He's spotted Decay, who's just about touching it to get the overtime going, but now we see some swaps as the Justice need to get bodies onto it. Jerry, I believe, was hacked up there, so couldn't actually get away. Brought down. Kevster holding onto the pulse bomb. The Justice, they need a miracle. Decay with the pulse bomb could be the man for it, but now he's got no recall. Forced back. He doesn't have too much opportunities to do so, but now we see the Primal Rage coming through. Space killed as he's trying to remake. Decay might just be doing this. Setting up for them. Kevster, though, trying to turn it with the pulse bomb. Decay hacked up, not going to be using this bomb anytime soon. In fact, being battered into the corner, and nobody is going to be able to touch. Muse, a sigh of relief, I suppose, in the final moments there, and they're going to be stopping them just underneath that bridge.
For one scary moment, it looked like Decay was going to be able to bring that back for the Washington Justice, but one man is too little and too late. You can't do it all, Decay. The swap from Jerry over to Sombra, I think, was just for extra point pressure to try and get Kevster out of there and force the Gladiators to the low ground. But they just didn't have enough time. Jerry couldn't even get up to a single EMP there. He made the swap too late. And this is one of the reasons why I was favoring the Gladiators in this map, is because their aggressive style offers them so many more team fights, a lot of windows of opportunity, and their ult cycling gets better as a result of that. But the map isn't over yet. The Justice have been better on defense than offense so far.
Hello.
Yeah, they certainly have. As we head over to this side of the map, where the Justice are now given the opportunity to defend, it's exactly right in that kind of manner of thinking that, I mean, I say it so often, but it is so important. This replay here, which was from a long time ago. A little shield bash down.
Oh, that was cancelling the pulse bomb, I believe.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's so important to fight over these crucial and critical areas of Gibraltar. It essentially is the entirety of the game, is trying to win out positioning over it. And as soon as you make your life more difficult by losing that initial team fight and giving over the defenders control of like the shuttle, or even just taking inopportune times for team fights like on this first objective, it's where it gets a little bit hairy. And that is a wonderful pick-off. Jerry just tried to roll to safety, but I think the bubble split the healing.
Yeah, that's brutal. Absolutely brutal. That is a ridiculous first pick to get. Shu has fallen, though, as skewed path through. They both got bio-naded, but the Gladiators' aggression is just going to be able to follow up on all of this. The Gladiators don't have their backline in a great position, sure, but neither do the Justice. They're sent back to the spawn queue. We're going to see another fairly even fight. Do you remember last time when we saw the Justice pathing all the way up and around? That isn't really... That opportunity isn't offered to the Gladiators. They have people all the way back at spawn. Space, Shu only just coming back as well. So the Justice are afforded an opportunity to get set back up here.
Yeah, this is actually very fortunate for them. Decay. Again, just pressuring. That's a lovely coordinated attempt. Yeah, and that's set up magically. High ground still being contested here, but Skewed is going to be falling. And now they can put their focus onto the people who are on the cart. It's going to be Muse taken out. And yeah, the Justice can now start to rotate a couple of these ultimates. They're still in control of the high ground. And it's looking much more winnable for them.
It certainly is. Okay, still over half the time bank remaining, though, for the Gladiators, burdering up to 61%. Not the fastest EMP that we've seen, by any means. Muse closest to an ult when it comes to the Gladiators, though Shu will be very near with his nano as well. That's a great hack. If Shu had his nano boost available, that could have been the timing for the Gladiators to go in, and they still find a pick on Mac.
Yeah, that's Mac going down. Jerry with the Deadeye action to try and push the positioning away. Postbomb into the corner. The shield's just about blocking that one, but they already are going to coordinate it. As that needs a kill onto Fury. The cards, someone needs to start playing this right now, but they're just going to give it up. And if they get staggered here, Josh, it's brutal.
It's over if they get staggered. Jerry needs to survive, and he simply won't.
This is looking more than dangerous. This could be the map. And the way that they are fighting this, the way they're just cutting off the spawners, Mac just about gets onto his back line as well to peel away for his supports there. But they need to fight over this shuttle. They need control of it, otherwise this card is just going to be a free reign. What a flash bang! That is immense from Jerry. And it's now going to be coordinated as Mag is using that Primal Rage to force the positioning into more favorable areas. Already
That is
asleep on the
gorgeous.
Fury though takes him out, but still, the plays have been made. Mag goes down, Jerry needs to follow up with something. Flashbang to catch him off onto the side. Nano boost onto Jerry as well with the high noon into the corner. He only gets views, but the kills are already going their way. Is anyone going to be able to touch this? Decay onto the point. The remake has space almost just trying to style on them, but nobody can touch. The Gladiators walking away with a win. And again, the importance of just taking the right team fights at the right time rears its ugly head. If you stagger in a moment, that can be the map, as it was showcased just there. That's going to lead the series up now to 2-2. Quite important towards the actual overall seedings as well and the implications into the knockouts for tomorrow. But more importantly, actually, it gives the Gladiators an opportunity to walk away with the win.
Incredibly important. This means that the Gladiators have now dodged the Washington Justice. There was a chance that they would have to face them again for the knockouts. And now, minimum, like worst case scenario, they still get a different opponent, even if they lose this going to 5. But Brent, I was just taking a look at the faces of all the Gladiators players as they won that map. Muse was the only one who dared to crack a smile. The others still with a little relief on their faces, not quite joy. They know that the job has yet to be done. And the Justice players are looking a little rattled just about now, on the verge of being reverse swept.
Hard path ahead of them. We're going to go to a short break, and of course on the other side of things, it's that last map of the series. So much on the line for both of these teams. We're going to see who's going to walk away with the win.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, some real grit and determination and resilience being shown here by the Gladiators. Another potential reverse sweep on the line as well. I believe we've had quite a few of those recently. We've had almost the brunt of them just occurring within the last few weeks. So it's been quite intriguing. And obviously the Justice are looking to try and put a stop to that. This game also has interesting seeding implications, Josh, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, Assassin comes in for Jerry to attempt to get the Washington Justice over the line, and Closer comes back in for Tuber as well. But those seeding implications, Brian, are that the winner of this final map will have to go through the Paris Eternal and then the Dallas Fuel to be able to qualify for Hawaii. The loser of this map has to go through the Boston Uprising and the Rain. I don't know about you, but if the entire season, the big playoffs weren't on the line, I might be tempted to lose this game. The thing is, nobody wants, like, the Justice are not going to want to go 7-5 just for a chance of going to Hawaii. There's no way. Like, the season is so short and every match matters so much that you want to win every single game that's in front of you. There's no way that you would rather just get a slightly easier bracket for the one playoff.
There's no way that's even on their minds as well.
No.
Like, none of them are even thinking of these random seeding implications. It's just fun for us as the viewers at home.
I doubt they even know them. I doubt they even know them.
Exactly. It's fun for us because we know all the mathematical odds. We know exactly what's going to happen if one way goes the other. But yes, overall, these teams are focusing on the win here today for the overall playoffs. It's felt like it's been a while since we've said that, actually. Because do you remember, like, way back 2018, we were always saying every map matters. Every match matters. There was 40 games for each team per season. And now, obviously, when you whittle it down to the 16 that they do play, every single match really does matter that much more. So both of these teams going the distance, trying to fight for it. The Gladiators trying to complete this reverse sweep. The Justice just trying to close it out.
Yeah, and these third maps, or being able to get your third map on the board to secure the win, is always the most difficult against elite competition. And if you think back to how the control map went at the beginning, the Gladiators came out and looked great in the beginning, at the start, the first round, and then the Justice dismissed them afterwards on Village and then Shrine. So I think a lot of this is going to come down to those opening team fights. We know the Justice want to play a little slower pace than the Gladiators, but when you look at the compositions they're playing, that's probably going to be reversed for this initial round. The Gladiators playing a slower, pokier composition, whereas the Justice with the Ana and the Winston are probably going to want to be the attackers.
Yeah, big Bionades is probably going to be the name of the game here. And already the Gladiators' DPS line is trying to set up some sort of play here. Trying to roll around the corner there. Muse didn't have the momentum to boop them forwards. In fact, it's Birdering who goes down first.
Yeah, that's not really good enough there. Losing a DPS player before your fight has even started is unfortunate. Now, as the Justice go to the point, though, the Gladiators are going to be able to take all of this space for their dive to be able to work.
Yes, and that's the Justice getting skewed, actually, off the rotation here. Still trying to play the point, obviously. It's flipping over for them. Fury has to just dive forwards to prevent himself from being hacked, but in them doing so, pop the micro missiles, gives up enough damage that they're able to just really clean up the rest of this fight and get those stragglers.
Such dangerous positioning there from the backline of the Gladiators. I don't know why they did that. The rest of the Justice was all on the point, and Skewed and Shoot, Skewed and Shoot both just walked at them. They just walked down the staircase towards the Hall of the Justice, and you're asking to be dived on there. And Decay was only too happy to be able to finish Skewed off. So now Justice are massively in control, starting to build up their ult cycling as well. This is rough for the Gladiators.
And a boost by Mag, just to really cement this lead. And it has forced the positioning about. Assassin goes down to Shu. I imagine Assassin was trying to make some sort of play happen there. Bebe falling. No more heals now for the Justice. It does force Closer to use that rally just to keep them alive and give them the healing they need. They're a little bit scared, I think, of the Gladiators coming back into this one.
How do the Gladiators manage to get through these choke points and get to the point, get to the objective with their backline? Shu is going to have to pop his trance and run with Skewed into a better position. That's the only way they're going to be able to get in. And
what? The EMP catches onto 5 with a sleep dart. It was already gone on off. They force out the translocator. This play that was already trying to be set up. I mean, Birdwing, I don't think anybody was in position to follow up on the EMP in the first place. And now we see the Justice. Assassin letting his one loose. That's going to be the tanks that are crowd controlled up onto the point. The remake onto Fury around the corner. Bebe again goes down, but Shu is in trouble on 1 health. Eventually is going to fall here. Still an even fight. The Gladiators going the distance in this one. This team fight needs to go their way because it's already 95% and counting. The longer it gets stretches out, the worse it's going to be looking for them.
2 poor EMPs from both sides, and the Gladiators come out the better end of it because Assassin used his EMP while Shu was already transcending. Like I said, Shu had to pop that early in the fight to escort the back line towards the objective. Now that provided the perfect opportunity for Assassin to just hold on and wait for a big EMP once Trans had faded. But he caught both tanks and they just kept getting healed. A bit of a mistake there from the Justice, offers the Gladiators an opportunity to flip this, but they're going to be going straight back in with Bebe's nano boost. Mag has the chance to initially put a round on the board right here.
God, that's so good from Fury. Absolutely spotted what Kevster was trying to do there, but look at this. The self-destruct comes through into the mines. The Justice's positioning, I mean, it's almost completely ideal for what the Gladiators wanted to chuck and invest into this fight, despite Decay getting that pick with the Pulse Bomb a little bit earlier. Definitely another team fight win on the board for them.
Yeah, again, shaky from the Justice, not pathing particularly well and not waiting for the nano to come online. Mag was dead to the self-destruct, having already dived in incredibly deep before that was even available. But okay, EMPs are now going to start to come into factor. And Birdring at 90% is slightly ahead of Assassin. Again, I'm expecting Mag to go aggressive with this nano boost, but Justice have been criminally slow so far.
And Assassin just relocated back. Birdring goes down to Fury though. I don't know how that kill was found. Birdring had the EMP, maybe he was trying to find it, maybe got decloaked and didn't want to commit out of the fight. That's going to be the primal. And the switch up there onto the point. Nice little whip shot to force him away, but it just gives Mag the slight boost he needs to get back to his team to try and peel away, battering them around. Space will just about get the touch onto the overtime. Now going to be ticking. Now it's Birdring's turn, has the EMP. Be uncloaked just to get that overtime burning again, but now the neutral hack onto Muse. EMP follows up, connects onto a lot of targets. Is anybody going to be able to get these kills going? Now the Transcendence, but it is the Gladiators just having to invest ults to even stand a chance of getting back into this, and they're pushed away from the point. Around now on the board here for the Washington Justice, and one step closer to denying this reverse sweep.
Very weird round from both teams there, honestly. I don't know why the Gladiators chose that composition. Doesn't really favor the style that they like to play. And the Washington Justice as well, honestly, looked a little uncomfortable playing the Anna Winston. They had openings that they weren't able to capitalize on. Perhaps some nerves heading into this final map. Because both teams with a little bit of shakiness there at the end. And Fury just continuing to apply pressure, kills Birdring there as he was at 99%. That pressure is so important to stop the EMP from coming off.
I suppose Birdring didn't have the translocator set up beforehand to escape because he wants to use it to engage with the EMP.
Yeah,
but it just meant that when he tries to use it to escape, I mean, you just get pressured down.
Yeah.
Regardless, a weird round, but a round on the board for Justice, nevertheless. And we see these teams like little ants moving around the battlefield. Look at them. Trying to find their positioning and place in the world.
Mirror comps from both sides as well. Assassin already brought a little low, translocating back away. And the Battle of the Sombras is going to be important, but also the coordination between your Wrecking Ball and your Tracer.
And they are just trading blows right now, just trying to build up these ults. Almost gone for the neutral hack, I think. Yep, got it off onto Assassin. Assassin couldn't quite cancel that one out. Either didn't have the translocate to try and get out of there, or just didn't react in time. And it's set up a lovely little neutral fight here for the Gladiators. They're going to eat up as many of these kills as possible, build up these ultimates now, and hold some great positioning for the subsequent team fight that's going to be coming up.
So far the Sombra diff reversing itself a little bit and going in favor of Birdring. A reminder that in the beginning 2 maps, Assassin was all over it. He looked fantastic. And then they took him out for a while, added Jerry in. Maybe he's cooled off a little from his incredible performance in the opening of this match.
Pulse Bomb almost online. Kev's just trying to charge it up. Assassin as well, trying to get his EMP online. It's just Again, tickling members of the Gladiators. They've got a couple of people very, very low. Muse hacked up into the backline. That is wonderful. Assassin was just waiting, uncloaked, while he came around the corner. The chip damage that they have been eventually doing, and it's a wonderful opening for them. Will this be the statistical anomaly? Will this be the team fight that the Gladiators win? Potentially, Bebe goes down to the pulse bomb.
It certainly looks like it, doesn't it? The Gladiators doing so much damage. Fury pressured away. Assassin falling as well to Kevster, who was just trying to mark his positions all over the place. What a time to defy the odds, Bren. You lose your main tank, but you win the team fight. That's one for the stats lab, isn't it? And now the Gladiators, they didn't even have to use ults there. They're still faster to get their support ults. They have the mines available. EMP still 25% ahead. The Gladiators have all the tools they need to be able to win this round. And it comes off the back of Birdring and his EMP.
Wow, Birdring just
punish.
Ready and waiting. That's good peel, though, from the backline. But again, the slower this gets played out, the better it's arguably going to be here for the Gladiators. With all these ults online, they are just waiting for the Justice to just extend ever so slightly. The rally engaged now, closer, and skewed, going to be traded them out on either side. A lot of ults available to them. Bebe forced to use his Transcendence, but that is going to be the self-destruct, catching on to Kevster. Takes him out. No more damage really for them. Birdring using his EMP. Is there any follow-up?
With Kevster dead, they're missing so much of that damage. Assassin does end up being traded in eventually, but both of the support ults are gone for the Justice. They may have the point, but they don't have the picks.
Oh, that's almost clean by Fury as well. Dodging and juking. Ring around the roses, around the pillars. To try and avoid that self-destruct coming through, but the way this team fight goes, it's going to be immediately going in the way of the Gladiators' favor. Overtime will burn as a couple of players on Justice are just tossing the bodies towards it. Kevster goes down from afar. That was Bebe actually just firing in the shot. DMP cancelled. The Assassin's not going to get it off. That could have been critical for turning it. Still the overtime goes. The Justice are not giving up just yet, not in the slightest. But with another final whip shot, they're not going to get the opportunity.
What a gorgeous play there at the end, even with Kevster falling multiple times at the beginning of those fights. Died to the self-destruct, died towards the end as well. The rest of the Gladiators rallied together and they're able to shut down Assassin. That to me, Bren, is the big key on this final map. Assassin's value has been completely neutralized, and I do wonder if some of that was due to him being taken out on Gibraltar and maybe just cooling off a little bit, because he had phenomenal moments in those first two maps. You could argue Hollywood was a little bit of a decline for him overall as well, but he has not found the same value. Oh, it's from a hack as well.
He got
That's
booped
insane.
forwards, I think, as well.
I mean, it's honestly, it's both. It's been the hacks and the bashes working so well together for both of these teams. Mad props to the Brig and Sombra players in this game.
It's certainly been very interesting, and now we are really going the distance. 1-1 is the score on the round, 2-2 in the series, and now the Washington Justice turning up the tempo. They're going to be playing the rush comp. There's a lovely ice wall to separate Shu and take him out. Now they want to take it just that extra step further here. Boot from closer as well to try and push them off of the high ground. The point is unlocked. They just need to get a couple more kills.
And I love this, the Justice turning things into, taking the fights into their own hands. Obviously, that's what you have to do if you're playing the Lucio Ryan rush into a poke composition. You have to be the aggressors. And again, that has been an area where the Justice have struggled in the past. If they're playing a comp where they have to be the initiators, they have missed those openings sometimes. Well, they certainly didn't there. And now they're getting up to a bit of an ult advantage too. Close to a Blizzard, which could net them a kill. And close to that Amp Matrix as well, which could push away the rest of the Gladiators next time they try and come knock it.
Use rolling through. Just trying to take up this space. Well, Bebe almost close to this Amp Matrix. It's going to be an aggressive Blizzard from Assassin to lock up a lot of the players on the Gladiators. A lot of point pressure. They're going to let this flip over. Obviously, the rush comp has to play in a bit of a group clumped up together, which means that you don't really have the luxury of having somebody to contest the point. But back in that one team fight, it's going to be flipped over anyway. Ult's committed. Interesting, Bebe. I don't really know if that was necessary.
I don't know about that. I mean, they're still going to have some other ults to be able to play around, but I think that's a pretty big mistake from the Justice. That they should be at 60% and counting right now, but Fury didn't go back and contest. I think it's his job, really, to do that. And now the EMP comes out.
Oh, that's a massive EMP, and it just layers so beautifully into that pulse bomb. Kevster obviously now cleaning up any players who are low, chasing them down, and yeah, could probably had another opportunity to take that.
Closer is so far away, honestly, from his sound barrier that was going to be used to respond to that EMP. The race between Birdring and Closer, absolutely won by Birdring there. Closer's still not close to his sound barrier as the Washington Justice push back in.
Okay, you see a big wall to try and separate up the point here to Mines as well. Off onto the side, but already look at this speed. The way they're taking this team fight, so many ultimates being expended all over the bloody shop. Birdring taken out by the self-destruct. Mag ready and waiting, just trying to swing away at any targets onto the point. But a nice initiation from the Justice.
Yeah, a very good initiation. They used a lot of ultimates, but now Assassin almost building up to his. What do the Justice choose to do in this scenario? They could sit back and buy time for Bebe and Assassin to get up to their ults, or they can try and take the fight to the Gladiators. That's what's been most successful so far, but they're already there. The speed boost flank.
Yeah, they split up actually, 3-3 with the teleporter to try and find that in space. He uses the flux to try and turn the fight, but it's too little too late. The beatdown of Assassin, the grass can't help you there. 95% in counting, Josh. I think this might be it.
And this is a totally new look from the Justice as well. It's rare the moments when they take the fight into their own hands, but this final map really has been them as the initiators, as the aggressors, and it has paid dividends for them. The Gladiators are barely being able to touch this objective. Birdring's still a long way from the EMP. What could even turn this?
Yeah, the TP onto the high ground. They just caught Shu unaware. And now with the Blizzard onto the point, all locked up. The Amp Matrix as well. Kevster needs to just absolutely go mental for them to try and turn this one. The overtime is eventually going to start ticking. And they're doing a good job of trading it back and forth. But with Birdring's EMP, is there going to be any follow-up? The answer is no. The Justice walking away with a win here. It went the distance. You can see how much it means to all of them. They are on their feet. And they're going to deny that reverse sweep away from the Gladiators.
Big denial. That takes some serious mental fortitude from the Justice and a swap up of their game plan. Great call from whoever wanted to go more towards the rush and the Winston Anna comps. It really did allow the Justice to take their fate into their own hands, write their own destiny, and pencil in that 3-2. They now tie the Gladiators in terms of overall match record. Both teams sat at 8-4. Some serious rivalries happening up at the top of the NA scene. But at least the Gladiators didn't get swept. They avoid a rematch tomorrow against the Washington Justice. Honestly, I'm not sure whether they would mind at this point, having taken it all the way to 5. But that is the Justice being able to lock up your 5th seed in the Summer Showdown. They will start off by facing off tomorrow against the Paris Eternal. I think that's going to be a great game. I really think the Paris have come on leaps and bounds. This Washington Justice squad should be a really cool kind of matchup for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it's really nice as well. We've kind of solidified as well the top teams that are going to be playing in the knockouts tomorrow. The stakes are set so high. Real rivalries being born as well from all of these sort of matches. But yeah, the mental fortitude of the Justice to be able to deny this reverse sweep, it's incredible. Let's take a look at our player of the match presented by Xfinity, and this is one individual who was just popping off throughout the entire series, played a crucial role as well in denying this reverse sweep at the end. It's Assassin in particular as well, just being able to play across so many different roles. The Mei on top of the Ashe at times as well.
Yeah, the Ashe. Yeah, the Ashe is a very unknown one. I had no idea that was in his hero pool. And Assassin was able to get good value from the Sombra, sure, but also, like you said, the Mei, which was crucial in that final round because he was getting shut down on Sombra. That 5th map, the Gladiators made sure that he got no value. But I mean, shots like this from your flex DPS player, not your hit scan main, that's crazy. I did not think we would ever see Assassin being the guy to pick up the Ashe when you have Decay and Jerry on the lineup, but all right, this guy had a bit of a breakout game. I know that he's had success around Korean contenders, and also he's been moderately successful so far in the league too, but I thought today was really a day where Assassin stepped up and delivered a carry performance when required that pushed his team over the edge. I was very impressed by what he brought to the table.
Yeah, well deserved, honestly, for our player of the match, presented by Xfinity. Wonderful, wonderful stuff, honestly, as well. And what a series to end the day as well, going to 5 maps between these teams. I think the Gladiators, obviously, they already qualified for the knockout. So this match, in terms of this tournament cycle, it doesn't really have as much bearing other than the seeding it's themselves. But they've obviously got a lot of prep work ahead of them. I think every team really does as well, if you were playing all the way up to the wire. Coming up next, we do have an interview with Tuber as well. So going to be hearing as well a little bit more about this inner dynamic that's occurring within Washington with them putting Tuber onto the Brigitte. That's going to be quite interesting. But yeah, that's going to do it for the games today. Of course, not done with the Overwatch though, as we're going to go to a short break, and on the other side of things, of course, that interview and the Watchpoint post show. Thank you very much for watching thus far, but again, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Even more coming up after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show presented by IBM. We're joined now by Duba, and this is his first interview, everybody, from Washington Justice. Congratulations on the win today. 두바 선수 첫 번째 인터뷰라고 하셨는데 잘해봅시다. 화이팅!
네. 네. 화이팅!
오늘 승리하셨는데 어떠신가요? 좀 기분 좋으신가요? How are you feeling about the win today?
네, 어제도 오늘도 이어서 네, 기분 좋습니다.
Alright, I'm actually feeling really good because we got a win yesterday and win today. Now let's talk about the win for the Washington Justice today. So, actually before that, I'm going to follow, I think this is my second question. Let me start off with another question before this. So yesterday I talked to Mag from your team, and he said that you are the Washington Justice's brig specialist now. What made the team sort of have the need or feel the need to have a brig specialist in the first place? 첫 번째 질문은 어제 매그 선수가 인터뷰에서 이제 뚜바 선수가 팀의 브리기테 전담 선수 이제 플레이어가 이제 뚜바 선수다라는 말씀하셨는데 워싱턴 팀에 좀 이렇게 브리기테를 전담하는 선수가 꼭 있어야 되는 이유가 따로 있을까요?
일단은 요즘 메타가 약간 브리기테가 많이 나오는 메타라서 그런 것 때문에 이제 그 담당하는 선수가 있으면 좋을 것 같다 생각해서 아마도 했던 것 같습니다.
I personally think, the reason why I am on that brig for the Washington Justice is because currently in the meta, whatever composition that teams play or what we play, there a lot of times there is a brig in the composition. So brig is used a lot and heavily in most of the composition in the current meta. So we just thought, having a brig specialist, someone that is dedicated on that brig role is probably going to be very crucial and very important. So I believe that is why our team went with having a brig specialist. And I'm going to follow up on that question. Like you said, brig is very important, and you are actually but a DPS player who is playing that brig for the team. How is playing brig for you, in your personal opinion? 아무래도 이제 또 뚜바 선수가 원래는 딜러 선수였다 보니까 지금 이제 딜러가 아닌 브리기테 좀 힐러 쪽으로 넘어가셨는데 좀 그거에 대해서 좀 어떠신가요? 좀 재밌으신가요? 아니면 뭐 어려움이나 이런 건 있으신가요?
네, 전 3-3 때도 브리기테를 해봤고 그래서 하는 데는 큰 어려움 없었던 것 같아요. 네, 그리고 재밌기도 하고요.
I mean, I don't think there's anything too difficult because I've played a lot of brig when it was the GOATS meta, and not only that, I'm actually having a lot of fun playing brig. So yeah, I think I am enjoying playing brig for the team. All right, let's move on to the second question, and this is about the match. So you guys were dominant in the first half of the game. However, the series towards the end, it did go to map fight. It went the distance. It went all the way. What allowed Gladiators to get back into the game, and how were you guys able to fend them off towards the end and get the win? 두 번째 질문은 이제 오늘 경기가 아무래도 이제 처음에 초반 때에는 워싱턴이 좀 굉장히 기세등등하게 좀 워싱턴이 굉장히 좋은 모습을 보여주다가 끝에 가서는 그래도 조금 힘들어 하셨던 것 같아요. 왜냐면 이게 끝까지 빨리 끝나지가 않고 이제 마지막까지 갔기 때문에 그래서 좀 어떤 문제들이 있었고 또 이제 그 문제들을 어떻게 해결해서 승리를 거두시게 되셨나요?
일단 두 번째 경기에서는 저희 그냥 하는 대로 했던 것 같고요. 근데 이제 3, 4경기 때는 이제 슈님의 킬밴이 너무 많이 들어오는 거예요. 그것 때문에 좀 힘들었긴 했어요. 그리고 이제 저희끼리 그냥 멘탈 안 나가고 열심히 해서 이길 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
So early to mid game, we just sort of played our game. We just went with what we prepared, and things were working. So we got the two map wins in the first two early to mid game. Going into the mid to later on in the game, I think one of the most difficulties that we had to deal with was Shu's Bionase. The heal bans that were coming in from Shu, it sort of really caught us off guard, and that we were having sort of difficulty because of Shu's Ana. And not only but through all that, we were sort of able to overcome everything because we had our mentality together, and we weren't technically weren't really boomed, so we were able to focus on the match, and we were towards the end, we were able to get the win. All right. That is it for the interview. 뚜바, thank you so much for your time. 자, 뚜바 선수 이걸로 인터뷰를 마치도록 하겠습니다. 너무 감사드립니다.
네, thank you.
Alright, thank you so much. Let's back to the desk.
No, thank you, Tuba. Thank you so much, Danny, for getting the inside scoop from the Washington Justice. Congratulations to the team. What a series that was. So let's break it down. Now, while I dare say some of the subbing strats and calls being made in that match are far, far, far beyond our understanding and comprehension, or willingness to understand anyway. In the end, it did work out for the Washington Justice. They did get that W, and particularly in the first half of this match, they looked really good, Danny. What were your nays and yays of this match?
For Washington Justice, I think I really liked how they adapted to the Wrecking Ball. What is it? Is it? Do you call this a dive? It wasn't a dive. Is it a poke comp? The Sombra
Wrecking Ball's kind
Sombra
of
Wrecking Ball
dive. Yeah.
I guess, I mean, yeah, the thing that we've seen a lot from the APAC region and from the Dragons, and I think that was really working well for them. So I was actually really happy to see that. And also Decay's Tracer and Assassin Sombra, just having those two players play those heroes, I think it was working very well for them. I'm gonna be honest though, like I think going into Gibraltar, I was like, when they subbed in Jerry and they started playing double bubble a little bit. Yeah, can someone explain to me what? I mean, I feel like they should have just stuck onto, because it was working for them the first half of the game, and just I think after that when they switched over, I think that sort of turned the tides around a little bit to the Gladiators. At the end, I mean, they did get the win, but I think that was a map that they really struggled in my eyes.
Reinforce needs to follow up.
Yeah, Johnny, can you?
He was molding over this.
I mean, this
Johnny,
team
I'm gonna toss
just
this to you.
pisses me off, man. Like they do, and they're a great team. Don't get me wrong. They're in the stage knockouts tomorrow. They're a fantastic team going into the season. Okay, everyone's talking about the Gladiators, #1, #2 team. They're going to be so good this year. I actually said that I think Washington Justice will be the better team of the two. I think Washington Justice are going to be a top 2 team going into the season. They have phenomenal individual skill, and they're so good. I mean, Decay, Assassin, they were lights out today. But some of the decisions, and I was so happy to see them play the Sombra Tracer today, because it was so entertaining. It really seemed like they popped off. Decay on Hollywood, he was 20 final blows and 4 deaths. I mean, that's spectacular. But then you sub in Jerry for Gibraltar, and you block yourself into this long-range hit scan composition, and you ultimately have Jerry going over to the Sombra that Assassin played so flawlessly. If there's something good to say about the Washington Justice, besides from obviously playing the Summer Tracer, I was surprised how well they played the run-out composition. So maybe that practice did pay off. They said that they wanted to be really good at double shield, really good at Reinhardt, really good at Winston and all that. So the fact that they beat the LA Gladiators playing that run-out composition on Nepal, I was actually impressed. Good job. And then the swap as well on Mecha base, of course, to end the entire series. I think that was really smart from them. So some good things to say, but finally we see Decay playing that Tracer, Assassin playing that Sombra. That's what I want to see tomorrow. That's when I think Washington Justice have a really good chance actually of making it to Hawaii next week. So some good game plan from them today, but some frustrations as well. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm
you
that guy.
gotta have the downs, otherwise the ups just don't feel as good. And honestly, Assassin low-key kind of popping off, or at least like pip popping. Like I don't know, there was stuff going on there. I was happy with his performance, and I'm glad they got the W in the end. After having such a strong first half, it would have been tragic to see them getting a reverse swept. Yeah, that's the word.
Reverse swept. Reverse swept. It is a difficult word.
Invisalign is hard. I'm still learning to speak ever since I got my braces.
English is hard.
Anyway, that too, actually. That might be the main issue.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we get there eventually. Second match of the day was fought out between Atlanta Reign and the Boston Uprising. And as impressive as Boston's dive may have looked against the Houston Outlaws, that did not work out against Atlanta Reign, I'll tell you that. They actually made it look quite easy. Third map got close-ish, but in the end, it was Atlanta Reign's game.
Yeah, and Atlanta Reign just took this one over. Really just solid defensive style that we know Atlanta Reign for. They played the double shield very well. They played the Reinhardt very well. We didn't see a lot of the Winston or Wrecking Ball in comparison to what we've seen from other teams, and Boston themselves as But I think my question really gets raised about Boston Uprising because in Pelican's interview, he actually said, oh yeah, we watched that Houston match where the Boston played, and they're like, Houston didn't play very well. They weren't afraid of Boston and this Genji style from Valentine, and they showed why. Just came out, made it impossible for Boston Uprising to play their game plan. Valentine tried to pick up the Genji here on Hanamura, and just every corner he tried to pull something out. Every time he tried to pull a blade, there was a wall in front of him, and the same thing happened on Hollywood to follow that. So really good looks for the Atlanta Reign. I think they are probably favorites to be the second team in the Hawaii. Obviously, Dallas is the one we are expecting to be first. So I think Atlanta Reign deserve this second seed right now. But for the Boston Uprising, I have a lot of questions. How do they bounce back from this? Because they have a very obvious identity of how they like to play the meta in the Summer Showdown. Very heavy dive with these Winstons, with these Genjis, with the Ana. Is that going to be good enough to get over some of these top-end teams? Because today, it wasn't even really particularly close against the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, indeed. So I hope they have something else in the back pocket for their upcoming match in the knockout rounds. Now, the first match of the day was played out between the Dallas Fuel and Toronto Defiant. And Toronto Defiant, they made a massive mistake. They poked the bear, all right? They were down already 2-0. At that point, you just play dead. It's safer. You do not want to make Dallas Fuel angry because they came back with vengeance. All right, they were pissed. I tell you that. So they rolled them in the last map.
Every map matters, Zoe. You take the one, and you run. See you in the Countdown Cup.
Yeah, not much running to be done after it. Like, they just popped up. But Dallas Fuel was incredible. Just on an individual level, not just as a team, but just individually, those players are correct. It's actually nutty to just watch them go off.
Yeah, I mean, best team in North America. As you know, Sideshow and Brand covered in the cast as well. Watching them play, yeah, they have tons of individual skill, but it's like watching a hive mind. I mean, the way they synergize with each other, they have such a flow in this team when they engage, disengage, pounce on different targets. It's spectacular to watch, really. So Dallas Fuel, best team in North America, favorites to go through tomorrow in the knockout stage to Hawaii for the third consecutive time. Toronto Defiant, though, it has to be said, I think this was a pretty decent game from them. Obviously, Junkertown was a big disappointment because Dallas Fuel, they set a blazing speed here on attack. But Toronto Defiant, I think they actually held their own to some degree. And if they have some favorable matchups in the Countdown Cup, if they play to this level, I could actually see them make it to the Countdown Cup knockout rounds, where maybe if, you know, things favor you, if you play the right compositions, if 10-15% go your way, you can actually make it past the knockout round. So Toronto Defiant, they're one of those mid-table teams like the Boston Uprising that at the right time, at the right place, they could potentially upset one of these bigger teams. So not a horrible performance.
Not a horrible performance. You heard it here first. Now let's actually take a look at the
worse
Summer
than I meant. I'm
Showdown
sorry.
standings. This is good. That's good enough for me, honestly. If you look at my gameplay and you tell me it's not the worst, I'm super satisfied with that. As you said, you take the W and you run. Now these are rather the standings in our Western region, so it is locked in now. We know which teams are qualifying, and we will take a look at the brackets a little later. Which of the ones who didn't make it is the biggest heartbreak for you guys?
San Fran Swagger, no! San Fran Swagger! For the three-peat, right? For the three-peat.
The three-peat. Hey, there's always the Countdown Cup, Danny.
Sure.
They'll rise again, surely, hopefully, right?
Maybe.
Right?
Sure.
Probably not. For me, though, the disappointment was in the Houston Outlaws. I think this was finally their tournament, and they unfortunately dropped the ball at the last second. So, you know, Countdown Cup, another team that's trying to prove themselves.
Yeah, and I guess we're taking a look at them right now. These are the matches we have coming your way tomorrow. Paris Eternal will face off against the Washington Justice first, and the winner has the honor, or yeah, is it an honor? Is it a displeasure? I don't know. Going up against Atlanta Reign, who are looking really, really strong right now. So
I had to go close to look at. Sorry, guys.
Wait, the graphic.
That was my favorite boomer moment for you. I'm surprised you didn't like bust out the magnifying glass. I was like, hold on.
It's really far,
actually,
okay? The screen is tiny, it's really far.
I think someone was off in the graphic anyway. So before I'm gonna look like a fool by just reading it off and having full faith, we just pulled it. So you didn't miss a thing. And we can just roll it back
Okay.
as soon as everything is fixed, right?
Gladiators
Let's just
fans
do
for like
that.
5 seconds were like, what?
What?
We're playing Dallas? I had this wrong the entire time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's take a quick look at our predictions and the look back. Let's see just how wrong we were, because once again the team had to throw us a little curveball. Also Costa, shame.
Oh, Costa.
I'm so sad that didn't work out for you.
You don't sound
Oh,
sincere with
man.
that at all. You really don't.
Oh man,
I
I'm a
should've stuck with my
horrible
guns.
liar. You might have noticed. You were playing with house money because if
Yeah.
we're actually looking at our standings, like you're still comfortable on top.
Yeah,
Don't you have like 3 more points than us?
Yeah,
I gave you guys
You
one.
still have 3 more.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
so hard to catch up on.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
Let's
think
bro.
take more
already
risks,
helping out.
boys.
Can you
Yeah.
help out one more time? Just one more time?
We'll see.
Or
We'll
2
see
or
how I'm
3,
feeling.
3 more times. 3. Come on. Three more times.
Hey.
Well, as we're doing our best to convince Costa to go for all the wrong picks, we're going to take a quick moment, a quick break. And after that, we will give you our best of the day. I know everyone's favorite segment. Coming at you right after a break. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.